Hey guys, what's up? Michael Strange here. I'm taking the week off, so I'm going to play some old shows that have never hit the podcast feed. So this one is Problem, Reaction, Solution. Are we being manipulated intentionally by a psyop? And this originally aired June 5th, 2020. So the quality isn't as good as the new stuff, of course, not as polished, bumper music and all the rest of that. But the conversations still hold up, and the audio quality, like I said, is a little less pro. So thanks for hanging out. Thanks for being with us. Thanks for allowing me a week to decompress and recharge the batteries. So we'll talk to you guys soon. Have a fantastic one. I hope you enjoy this conversation.
But I think the development of full artificial intelligence will spell the end of the human race.
It's a flying object, and we don't know what it is. I would hope somebody is checking it out.
With a rocket or whatever, but incredibly fast, opposite direction. It was too fast to be an airplane.
I'm glad the Pentagon is looking at this, because if it poses a threat, I want them on top of it.
Well, the craft generates its own gravitational field.
You said there's lights in the sky?
The internet has become the command center for criminals and terrorists.
911, what's your emergency? I need help, please help me!
Aliens won't let it happen. You know, that's what we're instructed to say.
Roswell, Area 51. Alien kept deep under the ground.
1 0 1 1 1 0 1 1 6
Media doesn't have your best interest in mind. The government is self-serving. You're here for a reason. You're listening to Troubled Minds Radio. Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness. Good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange. And hello to all of you who might also have troubled minds. What's up, guys? It is Friday night, and that means we are live, and it is show night. We're back. Sorry for the little bit of late tonight. Sorry for the little bit of a hiccup on Tuesday. We missed a show, but hey, we're back. That's what matters. You can't stop us. You can only hope to contain us. So here we are. Here we are at it again. We've got some interesting things on tap tonight. As usual, first things first, we're live. If you want to be part of the show tonight, it's Friday night. We do this live because we consider that transparency. If you disagree with me at any point, if you'd like to add to the conversation at any point, if you'd like to say hello, show feedback, whatever it is, request a show for the future, whatever it is, you're welcome. We take all callers. We don't screen calls, don't filter anything. And here we go. Give us a call, 702-957-1037. You can go to join troubleminds.org and join the Discord. That's a chat and a voice client as well, so you can join the show that way, which is helpful for the international folks that don't like the 702 area code, which is a long distance for them. 702 is Las Vegas, by the way. So that's actually legitimate. We are streaming from Las Vegas, and that's what's up. That's what's up on Friday night. So the way this works is we talk about all kinds of things. We talk about all the things we're not supposed to talk about, of course, which would be, yeah, you guessed it. That's conspiracy, okay? That's obvious. That's the obvious one. We talk about the paranormal. We talk about aliens. and we talk about the 24-hour news cycle. We talk about propaganda. We talk about the technocracy, the government. We talk about academia. Of course, we talk about all those things and how they affect us, and how they're complicit with the media to spin narratives that don't necessarily make sense. I often say we live in the upside down, and I think every day's news cycle is more and more proof of that fact. And we'll, as always, we'll keep an eye on that. So that's what's up. That's what the show's about. If you find yourself here in a random, where the hell am I? What the hell am I doing here? But that's what's going on. So here's the way it works. What we'll do tonight is we're going to do shout outs. We always do shout outs. So if you want a shout out, just type in the chat, and we encourage any chat along the way. I'll read as much chat as I can. So just FYI, if you got good comments, drop them in there. Funny stuff is good. Good comments is good. Troll comments I will not read. So there you go. Unless they're good, unless they're really good. But there you go. So go ahead and now contribute to chat. Appreciate that. But if you want to shout out, we're going to do that first. Just type out where you're listening from. I got your first name typically, or your user handle if you're on YouTube or Mixer or Twitch or any of these other places that we stream on. We stream all over the place. Periscope, you name, we're everywhere. We are everywhere, right? If you can stream there and it's like a major streaming platform, we're doing it. We do it live, and we'll read the chat as we go. So just type where you're listening from. You'll get a shout out. We'll start with that, and then we'll do some news. We always talk about some news to kind of get the conversation started and to keep things relevant and new and fresh, because there's a lot going on in today's world. And if you turn on the regular mainstream media, the regular news, right, the narrative news, you don't get jack shit, right? There's 10,000 things that happened today, and they want to tell you 5. Guess why? Guess why? Yeah, they want to tell you 5 because they want to manage your gray matter. They want to manage how you think, what you think, how you think it, and when you think it. Or wait, I probably repeated myself there, but yeah, they basically want to take it every little bit and tell you what's up. They want to control your mind, and when they do that, they control you. And so as a result, we think that this is important to not be controlled, to be able to think for ourselves. So that's what the show's about. We're going to talk about some of the news you may not have heard, and then we're going to get to a topic tonight. And the topic, now this is one that people have kind of dropped in. Emin the Spook, shouting out to you if you're out there tonight. He's said several times that this entire news cycle business and the way things kind of roll out is very, very, very cyclical. Very, what would you say? Very, like almost like it's a programming. Like they've planned this all along, and so we have this problem, reaction, solution, and the Hegelian Dialectic tonight. So if you don't know what that is, no problem. Hang out. We got a long conversation, and we'll get to that, and we'll get to that stuff tonight, and that's what we'll talk about. But let's do shout outs, and then we'll get to the news. Okay, let's do. I know I got Tinfoil Timothy gets first. I think we had Joe from Florida gets close second on Facebook. How you doing? We got Candy. I think I missed somebody. Did I miss? I think I missed Nikki from New Zealand. Nikki, what's up? Thanks for being here tonight. We got Todd. How you doing? We got Fred from Arizona. How you doing? Thanks for being here tonight. We've got, who else do we got? Yes. We got Elizabeth. Good evening, Troubled Minds. Been a hella week protests in my little town in Oregon last night. Yeah, it's going on everywhere. So if you guys want to talk about that too, we got time for you. So we do a long show intentionally, completely unedited. This is completely live. So if you want to update the rest of the world on what's happening in your neck of the woods, like we were doing this for COVID, but if you want to do that and you want to talk about maybe protests that maybe you were a part of, and I saw that some of the folks on Twitter and stuff actually went out and were actually at the protest. So let me know. Let all of us know if you guys want to update us with that. That would be fantastic. So one more time, I'll put up the phone number, and you can figure that out. Troubledminds.org. You can find the phone number and the Discord link, 702-957-1037. Let's see. We got who else? We got good conversation going on. We got Juan. Thanks for showing up tonight. We got Justin. How's it going? Someone in my trailer park got COVID. Now my hood is on lockdown. That's not good. That is not good. Kurt, what's up? And thanks for showing up tonight. We got who else do we got? JJ. Kurt's shouting out people. Appreciate that. Yeah, bring him in. Share it up, guys. Share it up. It helps a lot with the reach if you guys you share it up to the your folks on your friends on Facebook and your groups and all the rest of that stuff. Appreciate that. Leanne, what's up from Nashville? How you doing? We got, thanks for being here, having a long time no see. We got William. How you doing? Thanks for being here. What else? Christopher Christopher, hello, hello. We got Robert. How you doing? It says 5 weeks. I think it's been longer than that, buddy. Thanks for being here. Jeff from San Jose. How you doing, buddy? There we go. And then we got over to YouTube. We got Green Arrow gets first. Hello from Washington. Thanks for showing up. We got close second and very consistent Noble Cal-El hosting us on Mixer and also boosting our Discord server. Huge thanks for that, my man. Appreciate that. And thanks for the help on Discord too. He's very nice to the new people that show up and greets them and the rest of that. Appreciate that. Thanks for all the help. Jeremy, hello fellow minds on YouTube. Thanks for being here tonight. Penny, how you doing, Penny? Penny wants to know what happened Tuesday. What happened Tuesday is I just had unexpected company. They came a couple days early, and so you know how it is when that happens. And yeah, so I had a bunch of stuff to do that I was procrastinating, and then they're like, "We'll be here in a few hours," and it was show night, and I was like, "Oh shit, I gotta make shit happen." So somebody made the joke on Discord there that the FBI was knocking on the door because I said somebody knocked on the door on its unexpected company, but it was not like that. So it was not the FBI. Don't you guys worry. Don't you guys worry. All right. So that's what happened. Let's see what else we got. Noe, thanks for showing up from Texas. How you doing? And all right. I think that sums it up. If you guys want a shout out throughout the show and I miss you or as you show up, just drop it in there. I try and give everybody a shout out as they show up tonight. But if they do, then well, just show up and do your thing. Show up and do your thing, and I'll say hello. I will say hello. Okay, so let's do it. Let's get to what's on deck tonight. Which is let's see, what do we have here? Let's get to the news. Let's get to some news. Since we missed a show, there's all kinds of shit to talk about, isn't there? There's all kinds of shit. What's up, Christian from Arizona? Thanks for being here tonight. Who else we got? Let's see. We got Kelly. Kelly says, "Love harder than any pain you have ever felt." There you go. Always with a good quote. Thanks for showing up, Kelly. Good evening, family. How you doing, my man? And let's see. There we go. Justin says, "No, it was the Men in Black." No. It was family, guys. It's okay. It's a happy visit. Don't worry. Everything's good. All right, here we go. Let's get to the news. Before we get to the Hegelian Dialectic, which of course is that what would you call it? That problem, reaction, solution. That's what's on deck tonight. And kind of the question of, are we being manipulated intentionally? And or which kind of fits well into the COVID narrative here, how it's flip-flopped and changed. And as we look back and we kind of look at the postmortem of the media in these particular instances, you go back and you see there's a finely tuned narrative. And it's because the media flip-flops until they settle on something, and then history backs up the single narrative, right? You never read in a history book that it was like hotly contested for 6 weeks or 8 weeks, but then here's the prevailing narrative. No, they never say that shit, or rarely do. They actually just say, here's the prevailing narrative. So yeah, there we go. Problem, reaction, solution. The Hegelian dialect. That's what's on deck tonight. So hang tight. If you've never heard of that, it's actually deep rooted in some philosophy. And yeah, so we'll get to that. But for right now, let's start with this one because this is hilarious. This is reported by the New York Post. You're gonna like this. Yep, that's right. I'm linking this if you guys want to check it out. I always link my sources, so you can always follow up on me and see that I'm not making this shit up. What's up, Todd? Thanks for showing up. Thanks for being here tonight. You missed your birthday shout out, so happy belated to Todd, who's finally here many, many weeks later. But here we go. All right, so we got this is reported by the New York Post. Dropped it in the link in the chat there. Headline: Couples should wear face masks during sex. New study insists. Yeah. That's what this article says. Let's read some of this because this is embarrassing. But let's see. A new study from researchers at Harvard University says that hooking up carries some risk for transmitting COVID-19 from one partner to the other and recommends, among other practices, wearing a face mask while doing it. The research, published in the Annals of Internal Medicine, ranked frisky situations based on how likely it is to catch coronavirus while in the act. Researchers recommended wearing a mask for the riskiest sexual scenarios, sex with people other than those with whom one is quarantined. There you go. If you have an out-of-house coronavirus crush, the study says, besides keeping your mask on, you should avoid kissing, any oral to anal act, and anything else that involves semen or urine. There you go, guys. Shower before and after, and clean the space with with alcohol wipes or soap. Yeah, right. This is so bad. You really kind of can't make this stuff up, can you? You just can't. Like the media is it's a ridiculous shit show, and this is funny. Let's see, what else do we got? Who else am I missing? Yes, Christopher. What's up? Let's see. Who else? Let's see. What's up, Kurt? Thanks for being here. Let's see. Kelly says, that was the dumb ding shit I ever read. I'm not sure what you're referencing. I hope it's this. But yeah, there we go. Let's see. We got Noble Kal-El says you got to risk it for the biscuit. There we go. Like I said, sometimes there are calculated risks, and sometimes, yeah, you got to do some things that you got to do what you got to do. Let's say. So there we go. A good way to start it off, because that was pretty hilarious, and we missed it last time. Joe says, "Cue that song by the Divinyls." I touch myself. You guys remember that one? I touch myself. I can't sing, so don't ask me to. But here we go. All right, that was pretty funny. All right, so there we go. So an actual study. I'll link the study. Yeah, the comments are great. What's up, Christopher? Good day, mate. All right, let's see. Let's go to this. Next one is techdirt.com, reported by techdirt.com. This is a fantastic site. If you guys, I've been watching this more closely and following them on Twitter, and they have a lot of really fantastic articles. They talk about surveillance. They talk about maybe hacking. They talk about like technocratic type stuff, right? Like, and again, this is one of the sources that is pretty good stuff, right? Like they have free speech. They got like tons of stuff, but instead of this being like the mainstream narrative, which it really should be in my opinion, stuff like this, it's the other BS we get, right? Like the crap that when you turn on anything else, right? I'm going to say Fox News and CNN. You guys knew who the rest are. I don't need to name them all, but it's the same, right? Like they're doing the same damn thing from the opposite spin angle, and it's just a bunch of horse shit. It's just all horse shit. So don't watch that. I'd recommend you don't watch it. Read websites like this instead. Techdirt.com. The headline here says coronavirus surveillance is far too important and far too dangerous to be left up to the private sector. Now, remember, guys, we talked about contact tracing and what that entails, and it's basically like an actual private investigation, right? Into so it's tracing with an app. And your location all day, every day, based on who you come into contact with, based on Bluetooth and your GPS data, and it's they say it's opt-in, right? Of course, but this guy, now this is by Gaurav Laroria. I probably said that wrong, but that's his name here, and I mispronounced it because I'm an idiot. But that's the fantastic dude that wrote this article. And coronavirus surveillance is far too important, far too dangerous to be left to the private sector. He says, months into the global pandemic, governments, think tanks, and companies have begun releasing comprehensive plans to reopen the economy, while the world will have to wait a year or longer for the universal deployment of an effective vaccine. As part of many of these plans are digital tools, apps, and public health surveillance project that could be used to contain the spread of COVID-19. But even if they're effective, these tools must be subject to rigorous oversight and laws preventing their abuse. Corporate America is already contemplating mandatory worker testing and tracking. Digital COVID passports that could grant those with immunity or an all clear from a COVID test the right to enter stores, malls, hotels, and other spaces may well be on the way. So think about that, right? If you kind of hand that off to a government entity, and yeah, it just it's not good. It's not right. Or the private sector, like you said. I think either one. This is one of those situations where, and I think we're seeing this kind of bubble up with this the police brutality bit. Like some transparency would do really well. Instead, like what did the police do here in Vegas, right? We had that Vegas shooting, and what did they specifically do, right? I listened to the Vegas shooting on a police scanner that night in real time, and there was some pretty crazy stuff going down, right? People reporting shootings all over the place, okay? But so after that, because they had a bunch of concerned citizens, let's say, and reporters and everybody else kind of crawling up their backside. Instead of becoming more transparent, they became less transparent, and they took their entire police broadcast out of the public sphere. So now you can no longer listen to the Vegas police in real time because they've censored themselves, right? That's the point here. Censorship bad, right? And transparency good, and especially when we're talking about the police in particular, right? Like many things could be changed by having like a board of multiple boards, even of third party oversight committees type things that are civilians that don't work for the justice system in any way, and just maybe these are the things that we should be talking about, right? Like we need actual oversight to this type of stuff. But right, think about it this way. He says, again, coronavirus surveillance is far too important and far too dangerous to be left up to the private sector, and also, for what it's worth, far too dangerous and important to be left up to the government itself. So there needs to be transparent things. There needs to be a third parties, and maybe like an auditing system of that third party. This is very, very relevant to what's happening right now. The article continues. We must be ready to watch the watchers and guard against civil rights violations. And so fantastic article. I highly recommend this. And this website is great. Again, techdirt.com. Do check it out. But this is, we've talked about this. This is nothing new. We talk about surveillance and the rest of this stuff because this is important. Like these are the things that we really need to be in the forefront today. And people need to understand what's at stake here. And it's, back to that old Stalin-esque, right? Like, oh, well, I don't have anything to be worried about, so why should I be concerned that you're, looking through my underwear drawer, right? Well, it doesn't work like that, and it shouldn't work like that, right? Like because, well, we have a right to privacy, do we not? As private citizens, as not subjects, we are actual citizens in a world, in a government, and Anyway, so there we go. Let's see. Todd says riots are the in thing, and virus is old news. Yes, definitely. What's up, Sherry? Thanks for showing up tonight. Let's see. Kurt says every news conference, Sharon Lombardo had the FBI goon over looking from behind. Sheriff Lombardo looked highly stressed so many times, and that was from the Vegas shooting. You guys remember that? So they had like the federal agencies, the alphabet folks, the FBI, maybe the CIA, whoever the hell they were basically bogarting his press conferences and making sure that he said or didn't say whatever was on or off the beaten path of the narrative, the approved narrative, right? And there are even times, if you guys watch or paid attention to this is going back to the Vegas shooting is what we're talking about. So as I ramble from thing to thing like a crazy out of control train wreck, talking about the Vegas shooting, and Sheriff Lombardo is actually the sheriff of the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police here. So he would actually get asked questions during these press conferences, and he'd look over his shoulder at the goon standing behind him, and that's exactly right. To whether he could get like a nod or like the stone look, the stone face, no. So you know what I mean? Like the nod, go ahead and answer that one, or no, we're not going to answer that one, right? And he'd step in and all this other stuff. So anyway, crazy stuff there. That's what I mean, right? So if you say that they're not, they, again, I say they, as the government, the technocrats, the major corporations, the media that are all in league with each other. Yeah, if you think that they are not trying to, like, every single moment to control every minute of every narrative, then I think you're dreaming. What's up, Renee? Thanks for showing up tonight. Let's see. Yeah, and Timothy says the body language. Yeah, definitely. If you watch that, I'm sure those are still on YouTube if you guys want to go back and check it out. We never did the Vegas shooting, actually. We put it up on a poll one time, and you guys voted for something else. I think Sea Monsters. I think so. We did instead. But yeah, so if you guys want to do that, there's a ton of really like WTF information about that. It's directly in their report, right? So yeah. Anyway, let's see. Christopher, I don't understand all the rioting and looting. He says I've read that it was an inside job. That Antifa is busy, the same group of people around the different, busing people around the different cities. I don't know. Like I can't confirm or deny that. I've heard that too. There's actually been news reports that yeah. So anyway, there we go. What's up, Caesar? Thanks for showing up. What's up with the alien stories? Hey man, we've been alien heavy, so we're gonna do something else tonight. We're doing conspiracy heavy. Hang out if you like conspiracy. What's up, Johnson? Thanks for showing up. Let's see what else as I fumble through this. William, thanks for being here. Saw on the net entire police unit resigns after 2 cops suspended for pushing an elderly protester. Yeah, that happened. I'm sure you guys have seen it. Just turn on the news, and that's what they're saying, right? They're one side spinning it one way, one side spinning it the other way, and you're going to get that same story over and over and over again. So again, like I said, are they lazy? Are they lazy that they only have one story to talk about, or are they making damn sure that everybody hears the message, right? Yeah. So there we go. All right. So again, back to that real fast. Coronavirus surveillance is far too important and far too dangerous to be left up to the private sector and also to the government, right? So let's these are the types of things, right? And unfortunately, we're talking about another layer of bureaucracy, right? Like some sort of a citizens committee or whatever it is, right? Like who will watch the watchers, right? We must be ready to watch the watchers and guard against civil rights violations. And yeah, so there we go. That's that. So as I yammer on here, like I always do, if you guys want to be part of the show, if you have comments thus far, if you want to update the rest of us on what's happening in your neck of the woods with the either the virus or the murder hornets or well, what else is going on? The riots and the looting and the protests, the cop beatdowns, whatever it is, whatever you guys want to report, we're here to report it. This is again transparency, so you can bypass the mainstream media and put it straight out to people that are listening there. So if you want to spread the message, we're here for you. 702-957-1037. Just dial that phone number. It's Las Vegas area code. Click the Discord link. You can find both the phone number and the Discord link on troubledminds.org. That's the official website. And there you go. So we are taking calls. We are live. It's Friday night, and there it is. What's up? Ilno Q, I see there. What a week we're having. I wonder what's next. Just waiting for Monday. Yeah, that's exactly true, right? So we got pandemic, we got murder hornets, we got riots and looting and cop beatdowns, we got the military mobilizing. We got all kinds of whack shit happening. It's crazy. It's been a crazy year so far, and I think probably this kind of counts as maybe the hottest year on record. You know what I mean? And I don't mean global warming style, right? The hottest year on record. Yeah, because the shit just keeps getting hotter, doesn't it? Okay, here we go. Let's move on. Do check that out. I can't recommend this website enough. techdirt.com. Do check it out. Pretty good stuff. This is these are the reporting and commentary that we need, that we like, that we need to have, that the mainstream completely ignores. So that's unfortunate. Okay, let's see. All right, here we go. Speaking of, here we go. Let's move on to this next one, and we'll do. Here we go. Linking it, and so this is reported by TechnologyReview.com, and the headline. This startup is using AI, which is artificial intelligence, of course, to give workers a productivity score. Wow. Productivity score. How about that? So we'll talk about that in just a sec, because I got a shout out here. Very important people showing up, you got to say hi. People show up, and when people take their time to join us, you got to say hi. Who did I miss? I missed somebody here. Let's see. I missed, who did I miss? I saw it and then it's gone. See? It just escapes me. Let's see. I said hi to Caesar. I got Kurt. Who else? Who else did I miss? Did you delete it? Somebody typed from where they were, and then I think they deleted it. If I missed it, just type it again. I got you. Oh, no, Kurt Kurt says Buffalo. I'm a moron. We're talking about the guys that resigned from Buffalo. There we go. Let's see. Ilno Q. I can't say it. Waiting for meteors, aliens, and volcanoes on Twitch. What's up? Thanks for showing up tonight. And we're going to be then on that Netflix show, right? Like worse, we're going to be archaeology for the aliens that show up a million years from now. That's what we're going to be. Okay, anyway, here we go. Let's move on to this. Technology review. A startup is using AI to give workers a productivity score. Enable is one of a number of new firms that are giving employers tools to help keep tabs on their employees. But critics fear this kind of surveillance undermines trust. Oh, you don't say. You don't say, do you? Oh, you don't want to monitor every single second of what your employees do and then rate them based on their ability to let's say, finesse the system or not, right? Like to appear busy, productive enough but not, you want them to look busy, but you want them to be too busy because then, they make everybody look bad. And then you have a problem, you know how it works, right? Like you can't be too good because then you make everybody look bad and everybody hates you. And then, it's workplace drama and politics, right? Whatever it is. But imagine if you actually had a employer that took this information and monitored everything you did. All right, here we go. So companies have asked remote workers to install a whole range of tools. Hubstaff is a software that records users' keystrokes, mouse movements, and the websites that they visit. Time Doctor goes further, another software, taking videos of users' screens. It can also take a picture via webcam every 10 minutes to check that employees are at their computer. And Isaac, ISAAK, a tool made by the UK firm Status Today, monitors interactions between employees to identify who collaborates more, combining this data with information from personnel files to identify individuals who are change makers. Change makers, that's a new term, right? Wasn't it? It was one thing, it's another thing, it's thought leaders, it's this other thing. Now we're change makers. I tell you what, the buzzwords, these keep coming hot and heavy. Change makers. Guys, we're change makers now. We got a promotion. Can you believe that? That's what we're promoted. And with a nice thick slice of surveillance to go along with it. So interesting. Do any of you guys have jobs where you now that maybe many people are working from home, or do you have a regular job where you go in and you're like monitor every second of what you do, mouse clicks and these types of things, any sort of like mass surveillance happening, so they can give you a productivity score, which again sounds very, very, very similar to what the Chinese are doing, the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party, with what? What is it called? That's right, the social credit score, right? Yeah, and it's all based on draconian surveillance, right? So yeah, crazy stuff. Any of you guys have this going on? Have you heard of this? Have you seen this? Is this something that happens in your workplace? I'd love to hear from you. You know what to do. Give me a call, 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link. You can find both at troubledminds.org. Actually, I'm not in Discord. Let me get in there. Let's get in there. On air. There we go. Michael Strange is now on air in the Discord. Okay. So there we go. All right. So what do you think? More surveillance is good, right? I think more surveillance for the powers that be, more transparency for, let's say, the cops, just because we're the hot button today. But let's say more transparency for the backdoor deals that the government is doing constantly, more transparency for corporations that hide behind their corporation status and don't let any information out of speaking of corporations, let's jump to this real fast. This is a fun conspiracy, right? So let's not do this one. Let's do this one. We're going to jump to this real fast because are there any sports fans out there? As many of you know, I'm a sports fan, so don't hold it against me. Sports ball, etc., so on. Right? I played sports as a youngster, and it's fun. Like good stuff, good exercise. You meet lots of good people, learn teamwork, learn how to lose specifically. Yeah, go ahead and call, Joe. Give me a call, man. Let me know what you think. So let me talk about this as we go, and yeah, give me a call. Whoever wants to call, you're welcome. Do call Joe. I want to hear what you think, of course. I want to hear what all of you guys think. So here we go. We're going to do this quick conspiracy, but yeah, give me a call, Joe, and we'll put you on the phone. So now this is a fun one because it's a sports ball, right? If you guys are, as many are aware, the actual what would you call it? The sports, the highest level of sports, the NBA, which is basketball, MLB, which is Major League Baseball, the hockey, everything, right? Everything kind of got put on hold, okay? And so the Major League Baseball season is supposed to start the 1st of April, like the first week of April, pretty much every year forever, okay? Except for the strike season back in whatever year it was. Trust me, I'm going somewhere with this. This is an actual conspiracy. This is a major corporation conspiracy. Okay, trust me, I'm getting there. Okay, so if you look at this Major League Baseball site, there's a couple things going on, right? So the season was postponed, supposed to start the first week of April, right? So they have like a players union and they have the owners, right? And so they're currently negotiating to try and start a new season, all right? And it's been really, really poor because the negotiations, because the owners are like, well, if we have to play games, we don't have people in the stands buying tickets and hot dogs and beer, so we're going to lose a ton of money, right? Because we can't pay the players their full salaries or even prorated based on a shortened season because we have we don't have all the people showing up and paying the bills, right? So they're like, no. So not only do we want you to take a prorated cut based on the number of games we're going to play, which is about half, then because there's going to be nobody in the stands, we want you to take a further pay cut. And some of the highest profile players, like many of you don't know, you may know, Mike Trout is probably the best player in baseball. He under what the owners actually suggested, he'd take like a 86% pay cut or something like that to play for the season, right? And so that the highest paid players would take the biggest hits. And this is what they're asking. This is what the owners are asking from the players. Naturally, the players said, fuck off. We're not going to do that. We want something a little more fair. Let's just do prorated for the games we play. And, you owners, you billionaire owners, eat the loss, okay? Anyway, I'm getting there. Now, the point is, I'm explaining to you what's happening between these labor negotiations to restart the season. That's what's actually happening right now. But if you look at the website, MLB.com, okay, there's not a single mention anywhere on this website about the negotiations, the actual labor negotiations to start the new season. Not a single thing. And guess why? Because it's unbelievably bad press, because you have millionaires are bickering with billionaires, right? And it's a terrible look because many people have lost their jobs. Like people need the release, the entertainment value here. So trust me. Go to check it out. I linked it, MLB.com. See if there's anywhere on this entire front page where they have a tracking of the negotiations between the Major League Baseball Players Association and the owners. There's not a single link on here. You got to go to alternative sources, and this is the official damn source for their monopoly brand, even, right? This is unbelievable. And so when you think that do major corporations censor things, right? Do search engines censor things? Yeah, hell yeah, they do. Like everything up here is like, look, they have meet the best. 86 Mets win it all. So I'm going to get off this, but you get the point, right? They have all kinds of bullshit, the draft coming up, all kinds of information, trivia and quizzes, the dream bracket, historic seasons and putting them against each other in a simulation. Like there's not a single thing here about the labor negotiations, which is a shit show, right? It's bad press no matter how you slice it. And of course, as a result, they don't put it on the website. So there we go. Sorry to make you wait. Let's go to Joe. Joe, you're on Troubled Minds with Mike. How you doing tonight? What's on your mind? Joe from Florida. Welcome, man.
Phase 2, brothers and sisters. You know what Phase 2 means in Florida?
What's Phase 2 mean?
Strip clubs are open.
Yeah, all right.
But
so
I'm
what
here with you.
I was going to say.
But I'm here with you guys.
So what are you doing calling in tonight? What the hell's wrong with you, man?
Oh, man. The wife. I'm on lockdown with the wife. I think she loves this.
Okay, fair enough.
And the kids. Usually everybody's in bed by 9 o'clock. And she's pretty good. She knows I go out and I might go play some ice hockey or do this or do that. But you know what? I do 3 things. Play ice hockey. Haven't done that in about a year because I fucked up my knee. Finally starting to come around. I go out to my little club at Ybor, but obviously that's closed. And strip clubs are a loose bottom of the list. But anyway, I digress. You touched the nerve this week. I took vacation this week, and we had a sales meeting. And I didn't think I'd have to make it because technically I'm not in sales. I'm a fucking funeral director. I used to do sales. I got asked to come into work. And like a good soldier, I went in, but I just went in to stir the pot. So we've all made a phone call to a company or a business, and we always hear the recording that this phone call is being recorded for training purposes.
Right.
So they do that in the funeral home. So get this catch-22 in my funeral home. They want us to maximize sales, but at the same time, they don't want us to lose a call. So everything gets recorded, okay? And when they record the calls, you have to say 2 things. My condolences, obviously. I wouldn't be a funeral director if I didn't fucking say that. And we promise. The key words are promise. If you miss that, they hit you on scores, and your boss gets a recording of that the next day, right? But here's the other thing. They want you to maximize sales, but yet people call in, and my cremation price might be $2,000. There's places out there that do it for $600. Granted, They're not funeral homes. But I'll tell people $9.95. Does that help you out? And they'll get a full service deal. If I tell them no, or tell them it's $1,500 and don't negotiate, or the family just wants to go to someplace cheap, I've got to burn the deal. That's a salesperson's expression, burn the deal.
Yeah.
They still get it.
Right.
A lot of those times when we get those calls for $700, $900, and this is going to sound bad. I've done a ton of them, and you help the community and you make it up. But a lot of those times, it hurts your productivity because some of those people might be in jail. They need to sign off on paperwork. So now I'm chasing people around. In the meantime, my bosses are like, why do you have overtime? And they monitor everything. And they do. You would think in the funeral industry they don't, but they monitor if you haven't done a fucking online class, if your phone calls are wrong, what else? The time spent in front of the computer. I do get emails once a week, how to be more efficient. Here's the thing. I never open the emails up. The sales meeting, the RSVP, I don't open my emails. I'm kind of an asshole that way. And the only reason why I think they keep me is because I get consistently good ratings from my families. I actually got an email from a family yesterday that about made me cry, which never happens to me. But that's, I think, why they keep me, why my immediate boss keeps me, because they monitor all of that shit. And you get tired of it. They're looking over your shoulder, every fucking business. Literally, what's great is that sometimes a Spanish speaker will call. And I know what the people that listen into those phone calls, they're in a fucking server in India, I think, a lot of times. Like, there's somebody in India that's learning English based on our phone calls, as ridiculous as that sounds. But the minute I start talking Spanish to a family, the calls get dropped or not recorded because whoever's listening in doesn't speak Spanish or doesn't understand it.
Really?
The other thing
so
that's really bad,
they dump the call.
Yeah.
Wow.
They dump the call. Sometimes I have to call people back. And you'll hear the delay. There's latency, especially if it goes to a third party and that third party connects me. I'll know because when you're talking, like you and me were talking pretty clear without stepping over each other, with those phone calls, you step over each other consistently. And that's how you know it's recorded because the latency is in the system. It's all, it's all internet, voice over, I guess. But another sad thing is in my business in particular, sometimes a family doesn't have money or I know a business that could do something for the family faster and cheaper, like a ship out. Let's say they need a ship out to Mexico or to Colombia. I could do it, but it might take a month, and it's expensive. There's funeral homes out there that could do it cheap. So what I end up having to do is I have to lie on the phone and say, I can't hear you. I'll call you back. And I'll literally call the family back on my cell phone and tell them, call these people. It's going to save you money. And I'll tell people my phone calls are recorded. Trust me when I'm telling you this.
Yeah. So okay.
That's
so we're talking about like the surveillance state and being at work, and that's kind of the article. One of the ones I started with here. So that's what the topic we're on, guys. And so not only that, every word you say is being monitored on the telephone, of course. But does it go beyond that for other folks of you? Real quick before you continue there, Joe, we got to get a great question for you. Robert wants to know: do strippers spray Lysol on the dollar bills before slipping them in the G-string?
No, they don't. But I have had some girls play stripper darts. Does anybody know what that is?
Negative. Never heard of it. Sounds amazing.
So I learned too. So they take their lipstick or their chapstick, and what they do is they'll put it all over the dollar bill, and then they'll curl the dollar bill around like some quarters or some change, and if they throw it hard enough, it'll stick to somebody's ass.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay. Back to the topic at hand. We could digress on this type of stuff. Okay, go ahead. Sorry, I had to ask that question.
I'm like the patron saint. I'm the patron saint of dancers. Basically, that's what I'm known as. But yeah, as far as surveillance, they track our sales. Here's another thing they do for advertising. Our website. So let's say somebody that's like 97 years old dies and they have no family. I literally have to lie and put an obituary on my website within 24 hours of putting a contract or putting money in. And I literally have to lie saying that this family has a service. Like every family that we meet, service or not, I have to put that there's a service and an obituary of 150 characters, and I have to post a picture that is not a generic picture, but something that I get off the internet for me to get credit. And they monitor all of that. They base your scores, they base your bonuses, they base everything on those things. And those metrics don't mean anything. But because some college boy up the corporate line in the middle of management has to justify their job, and that's what they fucking do.
Yeah.
So,
As standard in a lot of places, but but I think sales reports and Sorry, go ahead.
and then you get the dead man switch when you talked about cameras every 10 minutes, this, that, and I mean, I think there's programs already like that where if you don't hit the keyboard, it's like a dead man switch. They know you're not at home. Like you've got to hit that keyboard like an engineer, like a train operator. It's got to hit the switch. They're awake. So I mean, it's already going on. And while you got me on the phone, veering off on things, I was thinking about this yesterday, and I posted it on the Discord. But I was looking at Illuminati cards. Maybe when you get into the conversation later, I don't know if anybody's investigated those cards. When I looked up the cards had police state, surveillance state. It had all these things.
Oh, yeah.
And when I was looking at those cards, I mean, it's painfully obvious to all of us. But when I looked at those cards, really China was the rollout. We looked at what's happened in China, and it's really kind of being mimicked now. And to revisit things, I looked at the last president. I was having all these things last night. I had to put them down because it was fucking really crazy. But, you look at Ingersoll Lockwood and his books, and then you look at the surveillance state, and then I looked at those cards, which I really haven't investigated them, Illuminati cards, till yesterday. And one of the cards was deal a double disaster to the country or something along those lines. And here we are, double disaster.
Yeah, we're waiting for the triple. We're waiting for the trifecta. It's on the way.
Well,
it's definitely on the way.
And then getting back to sports with this baseball stuff, fuck those guys. Those guys can play for $200,000 a year and be happy. Here's the thing. You want to get viewers? Maybe during the 7th inning stretch, you let some Lions out. Depending on which team is doing good, you let the Lions out. Because that's basically what we're doing right now. We're literally watching Rome fall. If the team is doing bad, you let the Lions out, or you let out some pissed off fucking military people with stun guns. I don't know. They chase the ball players around the field.
The cops with billy clubs and just beat people down.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I mean, that's the way I'm thinking.
Yeah, I got you. I understand. That's funny. I mean, maybe. Anyway. I guess let's see what happens. What the rest of the year brings. It's been crazy so far at this point. So, we'll see.
I'm going to give you a little insight. I'm going to give you an inside note, and I'll leave you with this. It just kind of hit me. So, my buddy's a doctor, and he runs a bunch of clinics around here. I guess this is serious, because this might be what's to come, and we've already seen this. We all know this examples, but in his medical office or his company, because it's a pretty decent-sized company of clinics, they had a conference call, and a lot of people that are high risk in his company, they're going to let them work from home, like telemedicine and do all those things. Now, we're all working from home. We know that. People are working from home. But they don't want to let anybody go back to work until there's a vaccine. So, in my hindsight, if they're not going to let anybody go back to work till there's a vaccine, that means they're going to probably try to force all of us. And when it's a medical company that has a lobbying power, you realize they're going to lobby, and they're probably going to be in the back end, and we all know it, and they're just going to feed off the taxpayer. We're going to be forced to buy these things. We've talked about it. We've all talked about it right now on the shows you've had currently, but I heard it from a buddy of mine, like I said, he's a doctor, and he didn't say that. He just said that they're not letting anybody go back to work that's high risk. Well, and what does that mean, high risk? Until there's a vaccine.
Yeah,
And I look at him and I'm like, why not?
Well, we'll see.
Why not just take your chances?
Yeah, well, so we'll see where that leads, right? With the contact tracing and the apps and the rest of this business, right? We made the morbid joke previously about that, where your Nazi papers, right, to come into the mall, to go through the drive-through, whatever it is, right, to get your hair cut, whatever it's going to be, right? Like your papers, please. Yeah, that's where we're at. That's where we're at.
And then Antifa. I'll leave you with this one. Where do you stand? And a friend of mine, who's still on my little list, she posted a generalized statement from Antifa, and it was an absolution. Like, I'm not really left, I'm not really right. I think most of us want to go to work, have some privacy, maybe have some sex without a dental dam, maybe kiss somebody, I don't know, but kind of really fucking pissed me off, and then I'm like, everybody just go the fuck back to work. I know in Pinellas County, we've kind of been okay. But I think it's because a lot of people are fucking working. Go the fuck back to work. I understand.
Yeah.
I understand. We understand. We all have a bad day. There's a reason why I'm not a cop, because I have a bad day every fucking day. I work with dead people every day.
That's true.
That's true. I come home and sometimes I let it out on the family, and I shouldn't. I really shouldn't. And when I play hockey, I have a temper. I know that if I had a weapon,
you would cross-check and shank the kidney with the rusty shank.
Yeah, exactly. Literally available. I'd fucking do it. I would just be like, oh, shit, So anyway, I'll leave you with that. I hope everybody has a good night in putting up with my bullshit.
No, you're good. You're good.
Call.
I appreciate the call, man. This is how we do it, man. We get together and we talk about this stuff, and you're always the lead caller. I appreciate that a lot.
Good night, guys.
Have a great one.
All right,
man.
have fun.
God bless the family, all that good stuff. Thanks, man. Joe from Florida. See, there you go. If you want to be on the show, pretty easy. Just dial the phone number 702-957-1037. We got another call we'll take in just a sec. But we take all callers. You can talk about whatever you want pretty much. We got time for you. We do this long form talk because no commercials, no bullshit. This is unfiltered, you and me and the rest of us. So let's do this. Next call. But if you want to be on the phone on the phone with us and everybody else, 702-957-1037. You can click the Discord link and you can go to troubleminds.org to find the official website and the phone number and the rest of this stuff. So here we go. We're going to go to Mike in Pittsburgh. What's up, my man? Mike in Pittsburgh, you're on Trouble Minds with Mike. How you doing tonight?
What's up, Mike? How are you?
Pretty good, man. Thanks for asking. What's happening in your neck of the woods?
No, just listening to some more Rick Doty stuff. He's back in UFO news again. So rather interesting things. Grant Cameron's asking him all these questions, like what he thinks on the Wilson documents. And, I can't tell, like, it's so hard. I know we all hate him and it's just so easy to say no, but, there's some truth to what he's saying there because there's verification from other people that he had employment with Hal. He's talking about how he's, like, in the office with Hal Puthoff and Eric Davis and all these other people. It's kind of bizarre. The pantheon of UFO tech people that I think of, like all the physicists and scientists, like I don't think Rick Doty, rubbing elbows with them, but that's what he described it as, his employment for years. So I'm in shock.
Wait, so is this like a new interview or something? Where's this information coming from?
Yeah, new interview.
Okay.
Yeah, with Grant Cameron. It was, Hal Puthoff had hired Doty for, I don't know, a number of years, 5-6 years. And I don't know the exact nature. When Doty describes what he did, it was obviously contractor work. It didn't sound like he had a W-2. Sound like maybe, he was employed all the time. Maybe it was per diem. I don't know. But, the way he described it was kind of abstract.
Yeah, I mean, so for folks that are not following that, Richard Doty is probably the most, what would you say? Probably the one person you would probably pick out of the entire UFO community that was more than likely, let's say, most probably disinformation agent. At least, he's admitted in different cases and been accused in other cases. And so, like, he's definitely makes the entire ufology bit suspicious as hell every time you hear somebody like an insider speak. So just so you know, Richard Doty's the guy's name, and he admitted to hoaxing stuff or maybe not hoaxing, but kind of leading people on and feeding them false information. And was it Paul Benowitz was the official, the most famous case with him, right? But yeah, just so you guys know what we're talking about, catching you up. But yeah, I mean, so I didn't know that. So when did that air? Was that on YouTube, or where can we watch that interview there you're talking about?
Yeah, Grant put it out on his YouTube channel, on his White House presidential White House UFOs or whatever his channel is. If you just go look up Grant Cameron, that's the channel that comes up. But
okay,
yeah, it was just last week, I want to say.
Okay, nice.
And maybe like 35 minutes. It's not a really long interview, but Doty, he says he has. So the most shocking thing to me in the interview, and who knows if it's right, is that Hal Puthoff definitively had alien tech in his hands. And when I say definitively, like, we don't know, but from Hal getting it, he can't figure out how it works, the electronics, what it's made of. It sounded like it's just absolutely no way this was from someone on Earth, according to Hal Puthoff. And that, to me, was a pretty big shocker to hear. Doty say a lot of things that were kind of mundane and then kind of drop that in there. You're like, whoa.
Yeah, exactly. He's personally, when I see something from Doty, I don't even read it. Like, that's probably why I skipped over that. Like that stuff comes out, not to completely discount anybody, but I think if you're going to discount anybody, in my opinion, it's probably him. Just because like everything he said is so it's so back and forth, and he's clearly lied about things and made things up, and then he's admitted these things. And then so how can you take somebody who actually says these things, admits they've been lying for years and years and years, and then take anything they say now as, any sort of gospel? So yeah, I mean, I'm with you. Go ahead.
I like to think that there's a little human in everyone, right? Rick Doty is not a machine. I think he has kids. I'm not sure how happy they are with him, but I'm pretty sure he has kids, and I don't think he's a bad guy inherently. Like, if I saw Rick Doty, I'm not gonna like punch him in the face. I may not shake his hand, but it's not like I have this inherent hate for him. So I think he's a human being, and I don't think he wants to be a household name, to be someone who is, untruthful and dishonest, and someone who's tricked. So I think he's got this mission, and I don't know if he can tell all the truth of what he's gone through and done. But I do find sometimes, depending on the subject, he's talking, like Serpo, he's obviously still lying about, okay? Project Serpo, where they did the whole thing where we had the exchange program with aliens. I forget the guy's name. I think his name was Victor Martinez, possibly.
Correct.
Who was getting emails from people, and, Mark Plinkington, I think, did the Mirage Men documentary where they did the analysis on these emails from all these various people about this exchange program the government had. And it turns out it's all from Doty's IP, right? It's like, and then you hear Doty, and Doty's like, well, no, you can't say it's just me. It was multiple people. And you're like, dude, that's such a catfish. Like, stop. When I was 13 years old, we knew people who did this. And you're not the first person to do this, and it's pretty widespread at this point and easy to identify.
Yeah,
that part of it, I definitely don't buy.
No, yeah, the easy anonymous sources, right? Oh, there are other people. I can't name them because it's so super top secret. But yeah, there were many of us. We were holding hands.
They're all you. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Remember all the Martin Lawrence movies? I don't know if you're I don't know anybody here is a Martin Lawrence fan, but all those movies like Big Mama's House where he played like 6 or 7 different characters. You know what I mean? Is that Rick Doty? Rick Doty plays 7 different people in the UFO field. Like, who knows? How many accounts of Rick Doty on Twitter? I don't know. Probably a few. But, is he trying to come out and say, hey, I fucked up. Look, Linda Mouton Howe burned him. Linda burned him when I guess he fought. In that Mirage Men film, again, he's like, Linda burned me and I burned her back. It seems like he's really bitter about getting his name out into the public. And I think he's on just some sort of campaign of redemption. And that's not to say what that means is he's going to tell the truth. I think he's just trying to get himself into a better light. And I think maybe there's some truth in between the lines there that we need to read.
Yeah, again, I haven't listened to that particular interview. I'll take your word for it and hope that he's a reformed liar. but at least in his past, we know he's a liar. He's admitted it. And yeah, I don't know what to think. We did do if you guys don't know what that Project Serpo is or any of that stuff, or Richard Doty, we've talked about them in the past. Go check out the old shows. We definitely did one on Project Serpo and his involvement there. And yeah, again, yeah, he's fabricated a lot of shit. And
then we have Big Bombshell. Big bombshell was Dr. Eric Davis being interviewed by Stephen Greenstreet on what's that show? The Basement, I think they call it, with Nick Pope, who I could care less for. But talked to Eric Davis, and that program they had, ATIP, the one that was the government-funded UFO program that came out in 2017 in the New York Times. It turns out, right, the program ended. Lou Elizondo doesn't run it anymore. He said he had trained someone else to do it. But, Pentagon says it's over. Cue up maybe about a week or so ago, Stephen Greenstreet puts up an interview with Dr. Eric Davis, right? And Dr. Eric Davis says, I still work for ATIP. It is still in existence, and I am currently, this very second, working for them. So, here we have, I don't know how to tell people, like, this is unprecedented in UFO history, where everyone's just sitting there on their laurels going, what's up with UFOs? Where's disclosure? And here's this guy going, hey, guys, I currently work for the program that researches this kind of stuff, and nothing, crickets, not one person. I hear people screaming about Antifa. It's like, oh, well, your taxpayer money is going towards UFOs right now, so maybe let's focus on the UFOs just for a second, just so we can all just get this out. It's almost there. I feel like there's something, they know something's going to happen, or they think something's going to happen, and they kind of have to get us on board so they don't look so stupid.
Yeah, well, I think it's one of those things, like, disclosure is a complicated thing, right? And clearly they don't want to just clunk it out. There's some sort of controlled drip disclosure going on. We don't know how long that's going to be, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 20 years, 50 years. Who the hell knows? But I think the powers that be have their hands full right now. I think there's a few other things going on that maybe put this on the back burner. And who knows, right? So maybe Richard Doty again has been employed to go, keep us on the hook, let's say. Who knows, man? Who knows? Just again, I don't know anything about what I'm talking about. You know that. If you listen to me, I don't know anything about anything. I'm just, I kind of going hip shooting. I'm a hip shooter. I'm a 10,000 foot hip shooter. But yeah, maybe, right? Maybe. Who knows? Definitely good stuff.
I don't know. I think it's controlled disclosure. Definitely, government is involved. They've got their fingers in it. We have the WikiLeaks leaks with, like, General McCaslin was definitely communicating with Tom DeLonge. Tom DeLonge was at a Lockheed Martin facility. Just think about that. Those words came out of my mouth, and that means a thing happened. I'm not saying that, but that happened. Okay, Tom DeLonge, was at a facility that probably most United States senators can't step foot in. Okay, but Tom DeLonge was in there, and why the fuck was he in there? Somebody high up in the government had to say, yes, bring the guy who talks about his dick and balls all the time into the Lockheed Martin facility where no one's allowed. Because that's important.
Exactly. And again, I have a lower-ish opinion of Tom DeLonge because of all the dumb shit he says, because of all the stupid tweets he puts up and deletes. So he says a lot of dumb shit, He really does. So you can make the argument that he's done a lot for disclosure or not or whatever, but he does say a lot of dumb shit and delete a lot of tweets and his Instagram posts and stuff. And he kind of acts childish.
Though? That's the point.
Yeah. Well,
are we measuring people by merit?
Well, exactly. So do you agree with me that he acts like a clown and he probably shouldn't be like the tip of the spear for disclosure, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But if we look at the scoreboard, I have very little control over who is in control of disclosure. I don't know if anyone's noticed, but it's not up to me.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. You and me
that being
both.
said,
You and me
I'd
both.
rather it be up to anybody than no one. You know, I'm all about throwing as much stuff against the wall and getting it to stick at this point. So I think everybody kind of wants to see some sort of movement in this field within our generation. You know, nobody wants to, and I'm sure, you know, the guys that are in their 50s and 60s are like, well, fuck, come on, man, I'm not going to live forever here. And, you know, I think everybody kind of deserves a shot at knowing a little bit more. And if Tom DeLonge can move the fucking ball, I don't know if we all work with shitheads, right? Everybody works with a shithead.
That's true.
I hate terrible sales. There are so many terrible salespeople out there in the world, but goddamn, sometimes they're just really good at their job, and you fucking hate them, right? But they're really good. So I think that's the kind of relationship I have with Tom DeLonge, where, God, I fucking hate him sometimes so much. But then other times you're like, oh, fuck, all right, that was pretty good what he did. You know, and
Yeah.
at the same, you know, if he's not doing it, who is? I can't think of anybody who can come on this radio show and tell you, well, you know, Jan Harzan from MUFON's really fucking kicking down doors. No, that's not happening. You know that's not happening.
Yeah, no. Not
So
at all.
who is it? Who is the champion? You're never going to get anywhere. You're never going to succeed. You know, if this is about product placement and actually getting people to listen, how are you getting traction? I just don't see a median for even getting people involved from the general public. Before TTSA, what it was like Ancient Aliens, I think, and that was the premise of what Tom DeLonge said, is we have such garbage, and unfortunately he does promote garbage. I would say arguably less than Ancient Aliens, but it's still garbage. That was the premise, though. Ancient Aliens is the thing that's educating people on something that might be very important, and that's dangerous.
Yeah, exactly. But it's you can make the argument either way. I think whether I think it's good in a way that the Tsoukalos guy with the big hair has done made people believe that maybe this is a possibility. You know, like all the crazy stuff he says, and there's a lot of really sketchy shit on that show. But for the most part, it makes people maybe consider the possibility. So you pick your poison, basically. Sure, he's doing damage with really shitty narratives and bad information, but he's also kind of perking people's interest and then making them think that maybe this could be possible. Maybe the Bob Lazar story could be possible. These types of things. So I don't know. I think it goes both ways, but yeah, right. You just can't win.
You mentioned Lazar, and I still have to go back to the fact that it's a very complicated issue, like a lot of things. Lazar is a liar. Doty's a liar. It's all duality. I don't think that anything we know is true or isn't true. I think, number one, we don't know what we have. I think the government has something. They don't know what they have, and they don't know how to ask people what the hell it is. And literally the national security state has built this thicket of legislature where I don't think anything can get out that's worthwhile. Does Hal put up really? Does Hal put up really? Did he get this piece of technology and see it, and he can't tell us? Because I can tell you something. When me and my wife were in Berkeley Springs at that talk with him, I think there's a lot of things lost when you see someone on video, and it's from a videotape from 30 feet away, and you can't really hear them that well. And then you see them in person. And I saw Hal Puthoff, and I saw someone who was probably pushing 80 years old on stage for hours on end under a hot light, fielding retarded questions about Ingo Swann. And the dude did it with a smile on his face, a little smile, and he was enthusiastic. So why is an 80-year-old, do you think an 80-year-old man is trotting out there to lie about UFOs for intelligence agencies? He's got money. He doesn't need to do this. He does it because he's got something. He's got the spark. Something, he saw something, and whether it's bullshit, whether, it's part of the hoax program where they show people fake bodies or fake technology, he's convinced, from what I can tell, that whatever he saw is not from here. Without a shadow of a doubt, that it was so worthwhile that he was going to commit himself to being in his 80s, to going to bumblefuck West Virginia to talk about UFOs to a bunch of rednecks. And God bless rednecks. I love West Virginia. Y'all are the best.
I was about to say, come on, man.
You know
come
what I
on.
mean? They're not.
Let's not shit on some people here.
They're not the people you want to be having. You don't want to be having like really deep conversations with physics out there. You know, I mean, that's just not the crowd you really talk that to.
Hey, come on, you never know.
There's plenty of people who are into rocketry.
What if I'm from there, man? What if I'm from there? You don't know. You don't know. Maybe I'm from there. Yeah, and I get your point.
No, come to WVU. Go to WVU, right? Go to WVU Morgantown, right? That's where you have that conversation. Not in Berkeley Springs, West Virginia, in a place called the Ice House or whatever the hell it was, right? Okay.
That's a great place. You can get a cold beer there.
It was a very academic talk.
Yeah, no, I understand. I understand what you're saying. Yeah, so great call. Appreciate that, man. Anything else before we let you go? Well, we will get to the Wilson documents at some point, just to let you know. We're going to get there. We'll get to Wilson documents. I know you want to hear about that. But anything else while we got you on the phone?
Just be careful about the Antifa misinformation, guys. Like, I realize there are leftists that do really stupid shit, and there are some like really weird groups of Antifa that associate with doing dumb shit. But on a whole, the group it's something that you engage in. It's not something you subscribe to. A majority of people. So when people get angry at their friends for saying, "Oh, well, I'm anti-fascist," and maybe once they showed up and did something stupid, I don't think that's enough to say someone's a terrorist. And I think it's just we should be careful. No, I don't think anybody I don't think right-wingers, I don't think people should be labeled terrorists either. But individual organizations that commit terror acts, like the Pittsburgh Animal Liberation Front, whoever that guy was that got arrested for burning that cop car, go after that organization if they're committing terrorist acts. But let's just careful not to paint everyone with broad strokes. All right, I'm out.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks. That's Mike from Pittsburgh. Great call. Lots of great information there. And so that's the thing, right? We talk about UFOs on this show. And Mike's on Twitter. You can find him. I think Foya Boy is his name there on Twitter. So he's always talking about UFOs. If you want to check him out. And again, the conversation continues. These are the things we don't know, right? There's things we do know about ourselves, about the world around us, right? The basics. But then there's all this other shit. And that's why we do the show. That's the type of shit we talk about. That's what we're here doing. So I appreciate the call. Thanks, Mike. And he's got a good point there about Antifa and the rest of these terrorist organizations. Don't be so quick to go with the partisan line and do what let's say Don Lemon tells you or what's his face Tucker Carlson. These assholes. Don't be so quick to just hook, line, and sinker. Do what they tell you and label these guys terrorists, because it is true, right? A little more complicated than that. And we're going to get to that tonight. So that's what's on deck. We're going to talk about the how the government handles these situations, and is this all of this fabricated, or is this just sort of an organic sort of situation? And it's not just you'll see. We're going to get to the Hegelian dialectic in just a sec here, and how the government maybe handles these things, or maybe they manufacture these things. So that's what's on deck tonight. Again, we have time for you. We do this in long format, no commercials. We just we do our thing. We talk about this stuff, and you're invited. So if you want to be on the show, just like Joe and Mike there, give us a call, 702-957-1037. You can join the Discord by going to troubleminds.org and clicking the Discord link, and the phone number is there as well. A couple more shout outs. We got Joe on YouTube, and we got Joe on Facebook. I know I missed you a ways back. We got C. Pete. Thanks for being here. We got Too Fast TJM. I see you on YouTube there. We got Fluffy Bunny. I see you on Mixer. Thanks for showing up. We got Thrash Metal 617 with some hilarious comments. I'm reading that too. What else do we got? Let's see. We got Michael. What's up? Michael on Facebook says, I'm friends with Bob Lazar and have read most of Hal Puthoff's major papers. There you go. If you can get Bob Lazar on the show, we'd appreciate that. Please tell him to call us, man. It's again, right? We're trying to get to the truth here, and if he's got things to say, we'd love to hear it. So there we go. Okay, so we went a little long on the news, so we cut some of that out. No big deal, but we have time for you. Do call if you want to be part of the show, 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link. You can join us by going to troubleminds.org. Find the phone number and the Discord link there, and there we go. All right, let's move on. Let's see if there's anything. Let me just one more time. Let's pick the news real quick and see if there's anything else. We left off with the baseball conspiracy. All right, how fun is that? Let's see what else is here. That's really hilarious that we have to really talk about tonight. Here we go. This is a pretty good one. Speaking of right wing extremists, terrorists. This is pretty funny. I thought this was cute. Let's say cute's a good one. What's up, Shane? Thanks for showing up. Appreciate you being here tonight. Says, love your show. Thank you. I love that you love the show. I love that you're here joining us live. Thanks for showing up. Tell a friend. Please tell a friend. Here we go. Let's go to this real fast, and then we'll move on. I'll pick just a couple more quick news stories, which are a little more funny, a little more cheeky. Here we go. This is reported by the New York Post. Right-wing extremist arrested for planning riots at protests in Las Vegas. All right, so this was June 4th, 2020. So there's three guys, and you can read the article. I linked it there. As always, all the sources we talk about are linked, and you guys can check it out because, well, we don't make shit up. We do our best not to. We have sources for this stuff. If you want to say they made it up, fine, but we're kind of parsing the propaganda. But here you go. I thought it was interesting that we have right-wing extremists arrested for planning riots at protests in Las Vegas, right? However, there are actual riots going on all over the goddamn place, and nobody's being arrested out there. Or, it's like catch and release type stuff, right? So they're planning. They're in the planning stages of inciting riots, and they're arrested. But I guess the pertinent thing here is right-wing extremists, however you want to say it. It's like again, right? Like, don't mean to be political. Nobody get angry. When I say right wing and people get hair on fire and run out of the room, it's not like that. But just think about that. So we're arresting people for planning to incite riots. All the while, countrywide, riots are being incited. Yeah. Anyway, just a funny. I thought it was pretty hilarious, just the way that headline read. You guys can check that out. Let's see what else. Real fast. One more, and then we'll get into the thing tonight. Oh, I think this is important. Let's talk about this real fast. They're reported by CNBC. Check this out. We got this now. Here we go. Let's do this. So, Jim Cramer. Says it's the Mad Money guy. Many of you guys have seen him on. He's on CNBC. He's the bald guy there with the tie and the big buttons, and he talks about investing. He says the pandemic led to one of the greatest wealth transfers in history. Okay, so how does that work? You ask. How does that work? So think about it this way. Amazon has spent the last 15, 18, 20 years basically putting every shopping mall in the country out of business, right? Probably in the world, because they don't just operate in the United States. Like all of retail, legacy retail is dying on the vine, okay? And so as a result, the only way to really compete with Amazon is to have like a mom and pop niche store, right? Where niche, if you're not French. I'm not French, but I think that's how you say it. But you basically supply like a very, very specific product line that Amazon can't really touch you on because they can't carry everything. Contrary to popular belief, Amazon cannot carry everything in the whole damn world. So you can still compete, right? On like a small mom and pop type store basis, okay? Well, it just so happens that the pandemic, COVID-19, ended up shutting down a ton of those mom and pop stores, right? They didn't have like a big cash flow. They had kind of carved themselves out as a sustainable thing, competing with Amazon by having things that they could sell that Amazon really couldn't stock and sell, right? But now, of course, they're out. A lot of those are going out of business. And so let's go to this real fast. This is a meme I saw. And I didn't fact check this, so forgive me, guys. Well, but it's a funny meme. I'm going to link it here, and you guys can see it on the stream. It's a picture of Jeff Bezos, right, the Amazon guy, looking smug as fuck. And he says, it says looters here, looters. So not just COVID, right? But he says looters. On behalf of Amazon's leadership, workers, and shareholders, thank you for your hard work and ongoing support. With your help destroying downtown businesses and suppressing retail sales, we're on track to having the highest second quarter earnings in our company history. Jeff Bezos signature again, right? So, a little bit tongue in cheek here, but you see, we have like the double whammy, and you wonder why people are suspicious when shit like this happens, right? So suddenly, Jim Cramer here says, for instance, he says that the pandemic led to one of the greatest wealth transfers in history, and then we have not just, it's like a back-to-back double whammy where we have the pandemic, and then we have the rioting and looting and the burning of small businesses and kicking in windows and all kinds of whack shit, right? So as if it wasn't bad enough, they had to barely get back in and open their shit up. Well, now we're going to kick their windows in and steal all their inventories. I mean, yeah. So of course, where does the business flow? to Amazon. And you talk about people owning senators and owning the government. Well, hi, Jeff Bezos. I'm talking to you. They call him the richest man in the world, right? I think based on this picture, he's the most smug mofo in the world, if you ask me. But yeah, that's the way this works, doesn't it? I mean, one way or the other, it certainly accelerated his agenda. I think you can say that, right? One way or the other, we have the double whammy of the looting going on with the pandemic. All we need is one more thing, right? Well, what are we looking for? We had the murder hornets. We need an asteroid from from wherever to maybe just nuke middle America, and again, a deadpan humor. Everybody relax. I don't want anybody to get nuked, but it seems like whatever's happening here has accelerated and like funneled money right into this dude's pockets. So crazy stuff, right? The crazy world we live in. Something to think about, and WTF, right? WTF, right? Yeah, as I gag on my beer here. Okay, all right. So let's move on. So we're talking about how the media and the government and the technocrats and the all the rest of that maybe have a plan for all this, right? So kind of like we saw there, it accelerated the pandemic and the looting and this thing that's happening sort of accelerated the technocratic rule of this country, right? And in one particular way, putting money in the pockets of Jeff Bezos, which is the owner of Amazon, right? And also the owner of the Washington Post, by the way. So bizarre how it does accelerate these things, but you wonder, right, if this was some sort of plan all along. When you hear like the tinfoil hat guys go, oh, it's a plandemic, right? It's a plandemic. And we've all said this, either tongue in cheek or half serious, or Bill Gates and the vaccines or whatever it is, right? Like he's answered that recently, by the way. He said it's stupid. These conspiracy people are stupid. Yeah. So okay, whatever, right? But when you see like all the money being funneled into one pocket, it's got to make you suspicious, no? It's got to make you wonder. It sure makes me wonder. So anyway, here we go. Let's talk about this. We're going to move on. Now, this is what we're talking about tonight. This is the Hegelian Dialectic, okay? And here we go. We're going to go with this. This is realnewsaustralia.com. This is how we start this. And I'm going to read some of this, and you guys can see what we're talking about. We've got some pretty good clips to play. Hang tight, and we'll hopefully tell you a good story tonight. So here we go. Listen to this. This is the. All right, I'm going to read some of this. This is, okay, so the Hegelian Dialectic and its use in controlling modern society, all right? So fantastic article. We got tons of fantastic articles tonight. We can't read them all, but I will always link them. You can always find them on YouTube after the show is over. Down in the description box, I'll link them all. I link everything, whether we talk about it or not, and you guys can see where I came to some of these points that I'm trying to make here, and some of the conclusions, right? Like we do soft conclusions here. We don't really do. Again, this is a think for yourself show. This is not a me telling you what to think. This is like, hey, this is what the media is not talking about. What do you guys think about that? Okay, just FYI. That's what the show's about. That's what the show's always been about. So here we go. So the Hegelian Dialectic and its use in controlling modern society. We got a phone call. We'll take this in just a sec, and then here we go. And then let's take the phone call, and then we'll get into this, and then I'll tell you what exactly is the Hegelian Dialectic. And here we go. Maybe some of you have heard this before: the problem, reaction, and solution, and how this actually falls into this cycle of this recurring cycle, even that seems to be manipulated by the government and the media. So there we go. Let's go to this phone call, and let's see what's going on. What's up, Kelly? You're on Troubled Minds with Mike. How you doing tonight? What's on your mind?
Hey, what's up, man? How you guys doing?
Fantastic. Go right ahead, sir.
How things, man?
Good, hey man, like as far as they, considering the pandemic and the looting and the rioting and the asteroid that's probably going to hit Middle America soon. I mean, all things considered, things are all right. The beer is still cold. How about that? Yeah. How about you, man?
Yeah, I was trying to call up. I was listening to the type of shows you got tonight, so it was about theories, right?
Yeah, it's about that.
So,
yeah, go ahead.
I don't know if you guys ever heard of the. Well, this has got to do with the World Trade Center buildings. and it's called. There's a video in a book called "Where Did the Towers Go?" I don't know if you ever heard of that.
I have heard of that. I have not read it, but yeah, I've heard of it.
Yeah, it's actually it started with a Dr. Judy Wood. She's like the go-to person. She's world renowned for like building construction and then demolition. So she knows exactly how everything would be affected with like an airplane hit, or if a demolition brings something down, how wood or steel or aluminum, how everything would affect with extreme heat, or with different materials. Let's just say. Well, she came up with so she got into the World Trade Center, and she's got a video that's on there. Actually, I put it on Discord. If you want to check that link out and then open it up and show these guys on there, it's like on at 29 minutes and 40 seconds. It kind of shows how they're. What her theory is it's what brought those things down and how they did it is called the Hutchinson Effect. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of that as well. Have you, Mike?
No, not in this capacity. Go ahead though. So if you guys want that link, it's in Discord. Join the Discord, troubleminds.org. Click Discord link. You can find that video right there. Go ahead, sir. Sorry.
Okay, yeah. In that video, anyway, and that link, if you go to 29 minutes and 40 seconds, you'll see where I'm talking about what I'm talking like steel beams that are probably like 140 feet that were still left when the towers came down and all that other stuff. When everything turned into powder, all that concrete, and a steel beam just actually literally disappearing, like broken down all the way down to the molecules. With the Hutchinson Effect, I'll also post that one in Discord as well. I couldn't do it on this right now because I'm using my phone, but in there, the Hutchinson Effect, what it is a unknown phenomenon this guy created, and it could at first, when he first was messing with it, he couldn't control it. What it would do, it could like levitate bowling balls, but it was sporadic. You couldn't control it. It could take metal. He's got a metal rod, stainless steel. I don't know if it's stainless steel, but I don't know the tensile strength. But this thing is like a steel rod, and it turned it into dust. And like in that video, it's like from the, it's an older video, but it's like in the, I would say 80s or 90s, but it was from like 79 to 89. He was messing with this weird phenomenon. So he would take what it would do, what it can do. The thing about it is now they've been controlling it, and he's even came onto her shows and said that yes, that was his technology that the government's using. Because he was working with the government for a while, but they, like I said, they couldn't control it. So I don't know if they've had anybody else mess with it. But what it does is it could take like concrete, like for instance, anything with hard material wise, like that's got like a hard center core. You know what I mean? Kind of like a concrete, brick, wood, metal, any kind of metal, and it'll just totally disappear. In the after effects. It took up, like you saw in the video too, it shows where they flipped cars and it caught them on fire, and that was just the after effects of the effect of that Hutchinson Effect, when it's being utilized as a weapon, like, direct energy. So, and then when it stopped, that's when that, like if you were to turn off the machine that had that Hutchinson Effect, that power on it, that's when everything around it would ignite in the flames, because they were doing some of the tests that they had. They'd had like it was like a big model metal, like a warship, Navy warship. It was probably, I don't know, the ship was probably about 5 feet long, but they were doing effects on it when they first were doing testing on it, and they showed some of the video on that. So when they turned it on, it would show like the metal was heating up really hot red. So that was the point of like, they were saying like all the melted metal that was on the bottom after all the towers went down. It's pretty interesting because I've never heard of the effect, the Hutchinson Effect, but it's incredible that this thing, because it also has an anti-gravity effect. So that's how you can levitate bowling balls. So whatever they're doing, it's got to be something that's, I mean, it could even be a powerful, like, you know, because that was the thing when I was listening to with Donald Trump when he was talking about Space Force. I don't know if you've seen that video, but he talks about, like, I guess he's talking about imaginable weapons that, you know, the Space Force could use or whatever. To me, that sounds like the Hutchinson Effect, because this thing can be used as a direct energy while you have something that's, because the effect, it's weird. It's how when it turns on, like things levitate on the outside of when the power from the power unit, right? So when you direct that, whatever kind of energy, I would say like microwave or even some kind of frequency, but it's levitating everything, and then also can be directed as an energy weapon.
Yeah. So if people didn't hear about this, the actual what Donald Trump said, I got a video here. Let's play the video clip real fast. But yeah, no, I haven't heard of this. I have not heard of this, but this is that same weird situation where you just don't know, right? Like scientists, they want to tell us they know it all, and they kind of don't. So who knows what this is, right? Like I did link the video if you guys want to check it out, what he's talking about. I haven't seen it myself, so I can't speak intelligently to it. But let's go to this real quick. Let me play this, and you guys can watch what Donald Trump actually said, what Kelly here is talking about. So let's go to this real fast and play this clip.
We have created the envy of the world and will soon be landing on Mars and will soon have the greatest weapons ever imagined in history. I've already seen designs, and even I can't believe it. The United States has regained our place of prestige as the world leader.
Okay, there we go. Super short. I know many of you freak out when you see Donald Trump, so kept it short. But yeah, go ahead, Kelly. But yeah, so I don't know. I haven't seen this. I can't speak intelligently about this, but yeah, I mean, I did link it if you guys want to check it out. I got a call behind you too, so we got to wrap this up. But yeah, go ahead and finish, man.
No, man, that's what I was just gonna wanted to talk about that a little bit. See if anybody's ever heard of the Hutchinson Effect. Like I said, I am on my phone, so I don't know if anybody's replying to that in the group, but or even heard of the towers. But anyway, if you guys want to look that up, her name is Dr. Judy Wood, and it's called. She's got a book out, but there's a video. There's one that I had. Like I said, I took that one linked because the other videos, it shows her talking about it's 2 hour 22 minutes of a talk that she had, and someone recorded it. But the evidence is overwhelming to tell you that. I mean, that is exactly how they took those towers down. Because in the video evidence she's showing, and again, you're going to talk about this lady and who she is. She's the top worldwide known of her field of demolition and how it affects other things, glass. Like all the glass, it turned into powder. So that's when people were breathing, they were getting cancer from that, the glass because everything turned into powder, like the dust on the megatons of concrete that just turned into powder. Steel beams you could see just literally evaporate, and all the glass that came in, because that whole buildings were made of glass. I mean, all that glass turned into dust. So that's what that was. People were getting cancer from, just ripping their shit apart because of the molecules it was in there. But yeah, if anybody's interested, check that out. And also, I'll go into Discord and post the one that shows Mr. Hutchinson himself, and then he's got examples of what some of the effect. And again, this is when he first was using it. He didn't have really much control of it, but later on he explains that he's damn sure that is his technology that was being used. Other than that, everybody have a good night, man.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you. I did link it, and if you guys want to check it out, that's Kelly from Colorado. Always great stuff. God bless the family and all that. Stay safe out there, and check it out. You can check it out right on troubleminds.org. Click the Discord link, and he's putting the links in there. And again, all this stuff, guys, all the stuff you guys are talking about, it's leads for later shows. So we can't hit it all tonight, but we'll at some point we'll circle back and talk about these things. So we'll get there. Here we go. Next call. You're on Troubled Minds with Mike. What's your first name and where you calling from?
Troubled Minds with Mike. What's your first name and where you calling from?
Lino. I'm calling from Arizona.
What's up? You said Lino?
What's up? You said Lino?
Lino, right.
Okay,
Yep.
Can you mute the stream? We got that. We got me talking back.
We got that. We got me talking back.
Oh, do you? Oh, crap. Let me shut that off, okay?
No problem. Thank you.
Let me look at it.
No problem. Thank you.
I had no idea, man. All right. Let me shut it.
No problem.
Shut it down.
No problem.
How's that?
Let's see. How's that?
Is that better?
Let's see. How's that?
Good.
No, I still hear myself. Go right ahead. Go right ahead. We'll just keep it short. You talk and I won't. Go ahead.
You talk and I won't. Go ahead.
Okay, that's good?
Not really, but go ahead.
Not really, but go ahead.
Oh, man, I'm sorry, bro. Check it out. You know, I'm interested in what's going on with Hillary this week. You know, it's like we don't hear anything, and that's what I really want to know. Like, what is going on with the pedos and Hollywood and the whole 9 yards? I know it's off topic, but that's what I really want to know.
Okay.
You know, is it a whole wag the dog situation?
Yeah, possibly. I think that's part of what the Q movement is talking about. Let me see if I can hold on.
If I can mute.
I'm trying to mute you and see if I can get away with this. Okay, I think we can get away with it this way. So, okay, I'm gonna answer you, and then let me answer, and then I'll unmute you, and we should be able to manage this. Okay, so the thing with that is there's a lot going on, and there's no way to parse all of it. I don't know. Hillary and the pedos and that whole bit. Like I said, it's a part of the QAnon movement. I don't know specifically. We can keep an eye on that and maybe look at it in the future, but I don't know. Like, as far as this moment, I do not know what's happening with that, and that's pretty much all I can give you. So go right ahead. You are back on. Okay, there we go. All right. So if you guys call in, just make sure you mute the stream before you get on the phone. So when you actually get on the phone, you can hear the stream through the phone while you're waiting on hold, so you don't have to have the actual stream on. Thanks for the call there. Sorry we couldn't talk a little bit more about that because of the weird connection, but there we go. Okay. So I don't know. As far as how that's going, I do not know. Hillary seems to be tweeting more and more active these days, but I don't know what that means. Is she angling to be the vice president for Joe Biden, which everybody knows at this point Joe Biden is in a really bad way of things. So I don't say that, and like I chuckle because not for him, it's terrible for him. He's clearly like in some sort of dementia or worse, and it's terrible that the funny and disgusting, grotesque part about it is the DNC puts him in there anyway. You know, they think he's the best chance to win, and so they push like an old man that's really losing it in this situation. So who knows? Maybe Hillary is angling for that VP slot. I'm sure a lot of people are, because it's going to be the most pertinent VP slot in our lifetime, I believe. Only because if you look at what's happening with poor Biden. Yeah. So anyway, there we go. Yeah, it's a good comment. I don't know. We will keep an eye on it as it comes and goes, and then there we go. All right. So let's finish it. Let's move on to this. Back to the Hegelian dialectic. All right. This is the story tonight. This is what we're talking about. So this is reported by realnewsaustralia.com. And the Hegelian dialectic and its use in controlling modern society. And there's a lot of ways to do this and talk about this. So let's read some of this article. What exactly is the Hegelian dialect? George Wilhelm Friedrich Hegel was a 19th century German philosopher who devised a particular dialectic or method of argument for resolving disagreements. His method of arriving at the truth by the exchange of logical arguments is a system of thought process still in use to this day. To put it simply, the basis of Hegelianism dictates that the human mind can't understand anything unless it can be split into two polar opposites: good and evil, right and wrong, left and right. For example, when two people are talking about two political parties, Labor or Liberal, Republican or Democrat, what they're actually referring to without realizing it is the thesis and the antithesis based on the Hegelian dialectic. Okay, the only real debate that occurs is just the minor differences between those two parties. Nothing is said or done about the issues that neither left or right is discussing. This in particular will become more apparent as the election draws near. So now this is, and again, this is old, right? So this is when this guy was a 1820, I believe. Like that's when this guy was alive. So this is not new, right? And so not only that, he actually based some of this information on Plato. and how that sticks. Hold on. So I'll play some of this for you. We got some pretty good clips here explaining this probably better than I ever could. So let's do that. Let's talk about this, and we will. Let's see. What do we got? Let's start with Hegel part 1, and I'm going to drink some beer, and you guys listen up, and then we'll talk about this as we go. But this is the Hegelian dialectic, and many of you have heard this in this other term. It's also known as problem, reaction, and solution. Okay, so let's hear what this is and hear where it came from, and et cetera, so on. Here we go. Part 1, action.
There have been places and periods of history when only a congenital optimist could have had any hope for the future of our species. Think of the end of Athens' golden age, the fall of the Roman Empire, the petering out of the Renaissance, the end of the Enlightenment, the rise of fascism. It's when things look bleak indeed that it pays to remember the German 19th century philosopher Hegel. In his lectures on the philosophy of world history, published in 1830, Hegel offered us a way of looking at the darker periods of history that neither glosses over their pain nor refuses to give up hope, but intelligently helps us to understand why human progress cannot be linear, while encouraging us to trust that it does occur nevertheless. For Hegel, history moves forward in what he termed a dialectical way. A dialectic is a philosophical term for an argument made up of 3 parts: a thesis, an antithesis, and a synthesis. Both the thesis and the antithesis contain parts of the truth, but they are also exaggerations and distortions of the whole, and so need to clash and interact until their best elements find resolution in a synthesis. One cannot, in short, get there in one leap. Hegel thought this pattern constantly observable in history. The world makes progress by lurching from one extreme to another as it seeks to overcompensate for a previous mistake, and generally requires 3 moves before the right balance on any issue can be found. So, for example, the ancient Athenians discovered the idea of individual liberty, but their regime was blind to the need for collective discipline and organization. The ancient Persians knew all about that, and were thereby able to conquer the Athenians on the battlefield. Yet they were also despotic enemies of free thought, which with time became its own liability.
Okay, so there's the intro there, and so this is the Hegelian dialectic is what we're talking about here, and it's a problem, reaction, solution. Okay, so that's where this starts. Let's go to part 2 of this, and so you see what they're talking about. It's that human progression is not linear. And for this reason, that basically Hegel is arguing here, again, an 18th, 19th century philosopher. I don't know. I don't know exactly when he was born. I can pull that up and you guys can check it out. But the thing is, in the old days, we'll talk about this in a sec. I got clips that kind of match up with this as well. But Plato basically said that this goes back to Plato actually in his philosophy, and he said that if when things change in the human paradigm as humans progress, it's because new ideas come forth, okay? In some sort of many have heard this, the marketplace of ideas, right? So the good ideas rise to the top and the shitty ones fall by the wayside and things progress, right? And that would be a linear progression, okay? At least in some cases. You can't say that it's exactly linear, but more linear than kind of agitating and causing the change, okay? So there we go. So that's what this is about. So let's go to part 2 from what Hegel thought, and then we'll get to problem, reaction, solution, and get more into Plato. Here we go, action.
It took many centuries for the correct synthesis between liberty and discipline to be worked out in the form of the Roman Empire. In Hegel's own era, the stifling, unfair 18th century system of inherited traditional monarchy had been abolished by the French Revolution. But what should have been the peaceful birth of representative government ended up in the anarchy and chaos of the Terror. This, in turn, led to the emergence of Napoleon, who restored order but became a military brute, trampling on the liberty he had professed to love. Only after 40 years and much bloodshed did the modern balanced constitution emerge, an arrangement which more sensibly balanced up popular representation with the rights of minorities. Or, to take another example, the European Enlightenment had stressed the importance of reason, but it had in many parts been sterile and reductive. The movement known as Romanticism had then swept in to assert the importance of emotion, but this had carried excesses of its own. Only eventually had a correct reconciliation been worked out between the legitimate competing needs of reason and emotion. Hegel's argument has a highly reassuring feel at moments when it seems that one kind of progress has been entirely lost. He is on hand to reassure us that we're merely seeing the pendulum swing back for a time, but also wisely counselled that this was needed because the initial move forward had been blind to a range of crucial insights. All sides on a matter will contain important truths lodged amidst exaggeration and bombast. Yet these truths will eventually be sifted out through the wisdom of time. Hegel reminds us that big overreactions are eminently compatible with events broadly moving forward in the right direction. The dark moments aren't the end. They are a challenging, but even in some ways necessary parts of an antithesis that will, eventually, find a wiser point of synthesis.
Okay, so I know there's a lot there. This is philosophy stuff. This goes back to Plato, and this is Hegel kind of making a new modern version of this, of this dialectic of change and how humans progress. So here we go. Here's another one. This is from the ascensionglossary.com, and this is what is known as. Many people in the the conspiracy sphere, they know it is this: problem, reaction, and solution, and how the governments actually handle this and take care of these things. It's almost like they manufacture this, that whatever the information is, to bring about a new change, a new policy, a new social order, whatever it happens to be, and they use this information to get what they want, basically, at the expense of the folks that don't realize what's going on, which would be you and me. So here we go. So let's read this from this is fantastic. ascensionglossary.com. Problem, reaction, and solution. Increasing stress and confusion in the targeted business person or in the masses is done on purpose to break them down so they go into self-doubt and become uncertain and confused about what is actually happening. Controllers purposely increase stress and confusion as a manipulation method to destabilize and weaken others, so they will be easily persuaded to go along with any solution the controller offers just to reduce their stress. This is also called the problem, reaction, and solution tactic. This works on the principle that a drowning person will clutch at a straw so that the controller, in his manipulation, deliberately attempts to push them underwater so he can then offer them the straw. And here we go. So there's a cycle of pain. And here's the deceitful solution of the entire thing. So it says, this continues, it is important to realize the cycle of emotional pain and human suffering is perpetuated repeatedly from those groups of people that have endured tragic pain. This leaves the imprint and residue of that pain to be carried out by the family, lineage, and the rest of the human race that is on Earth. That pain continues to accumulate in the Earth and the human race until the cause of the cycle of pain and suffering is identified, recognized, and cleared from the Earth and the people. The cause of pain and suffering must be identified in order to stop the painful recycling of previously recorded pain, which is, if left hidden, continues to recycle and generate even more pain and suffering consciousness fields back into the Earth. Okay, so you get what's happening here. It's a manufactured way of kind of skipping the Plato version of this, which is the linear, like the people as the marketplace of ideas. The good stuff happens, the bad stuff falls by the wayside, like I said. So this is kind of a way of maybe taking a situation and taking advantage of that situation and moving it until it gets to whatever they want, right? Basically, if the media is controlling what's happening, and the government is controlling what's happening based on the information that they're given, they get to decide the antithesis. Right? We have thesis, antithesis, and then the resolution, right? That comes from. So they get to pick the counterpoint, basically, and push change through artificial methods. Let's say. So here we go. Let's do the real quick the Plato part of this, and then we'll keep on moving. Here, if you guys aren't sure what's going on here, problem, reaction, and solution. We'll talk about some of the ways this maybe fits into COVID, or maybe the ways this fits into the riots that are going on, or whatever else. There's tons of stuff here. So let's play this other clip, and then we'll keep on trucking here. Let's go with this is again Plato's version of this. It's a dialectic. It's about a linear progression of human progress. And instead of the Hegel dialectic, where you manufacture it by creating the antithesis to get the outcome you need in quick change, which sometimes, unfortunately, it means dead bodies in the streets. This is the Plato version, okay, like the classical version of this. Let's motor through some of these clips so that we catch up and we're all on the same page. Let's go Plato action.
Dialectic is a method of discussion between two arguments in an effort to finding a better truth, and throughout histories, various philosophers have come up with their own logic of dialectic. Hegelian dialectic was born during the modern philosophy time, adopting Plato's dialectic with Hegel's own touch to it. Hegelian dialectic unites two different determinations into one, creating a meaning that, although previous determination is negated, keeps the old concepts within it. But how exactly is the Hegelian dialectic affecting the studies of logic and other subjects in the past? Also, how does Hegelian dialectic excel its predecessors, namely Plato's dialectic? Hegelian dialectic is a very prominent dialectic method among scholars after medieval times. Hegel is also among the pioneers of modern philosophy, inventing a method of finding the truth without waiting for external ideas to constantly pop up. The Hegelian dialectical method consists of a triadic development. It starts with the development of a thesis, a moment of fixity where everything is stable. The definition of the said argument remains stable until it enters the second moment, the moment where the argument's truth is questioned and faced with contradictions. Plato's method of dialectic can lead to nothingness should contradictions be found to be true, and requires thinkers to wait for a new, arbitrary idea to arise. This is not ideal, according to Hegel, compared to his method. With Hegelian dialectic, one can produce a synthesis out of the contradiction, allowing a new understanding or determination to form. This new determination does not eliminate past determinations, but instead include them into the new determination. Aside from this, Hegel's work can be categorized into various philosophies: philosophy of nature, philosophy of mind, philosophy of history, and philosophy of absolute mind.
Okay, so you see where we're going with this. Again, like I said, there's a natural progression of things as ideas come forth, right? People present new ideas and human progress happens. Okay, but Hegel suggests that you can do this quicker by creating basically a problem and then a solution to the problem, right? And it's political, it's manipulation of the masses, and it's trying to skip some of the basic as ideas come forth. You again, take the best. Instead, you create the problem, at least, or take advantage of like a particular problem as it arises. You create the antithesis of this problem, and then there's your solution. And so, as we know, the government and the media, they're in cahoots. They work together. The CIA is involved. The Project Mockingbird, Operation Mockingbird, and there's something going on here. Okay, and so. Should we be suspicious? Is kind of the question here tonight. Should we be suspicious of the government and the media, how they work together? Do you think that the COVID thing was maybe blown out of proportion, and they did whatever they did to take rights away, right? To change society. Like we're told this term, right? The new normal. Right, just like after 9/11, the new normal. Now when you go to the airport, you get they feel you up and they check your shoes. Right, that was not normal. It is now the new normal, and they're never giving that back. Right, that'll never go back. And this is the problem. Every time something happens, every time something large looms, the state moves to take action because people want to feel safe. Right, whether they realize it's in their best interest or not long term, because they won't get it back. You just don't get it back, okay? And so here we go. Let's go part two of this. This is, again, Plato's version of this dialectic, and then we'll keep on trucking here. So there's a lot to talk about. Trust me, it seems a little dense, but follow me here. There's a lot, and it's definitely pertinent to what we're dealing with right now. So here we go. Part two, Plato and the dialectic, and how Hegel kind of took it and transformed it, bastardized it, let's say. So, and action.
In his philosophy of history, Hegel separates them into three different categories. All start from the Oriental imperial, continued with Greek social democracy, and is ended with Christian constitutional monarchy. The time of Oriental imperial is a time of stability where freedom is issued, continued by a time of when fake freedom is issued during Greek social democracy. The truer sense of freedom is only attained during the time of Christian constitutional monarchy. And this is not the only situation where Hegel applies his dialectic theory, as Hegel applies it in many of his works, such as on the concept of being, becoming, and nothingness. Comparing Hegel's work on the importance of being and becoming to Aristotle also brings about interesting results. Hegel's concept of revolving around the fact that is only a part of the progress. For Hegel, it is most important to focus on the fact that a being will not retain that condition forever. Changes are imminent, which prompt Hegel to focus on the origin, state, and what a being will become. Aristotle, however, considers becoming an imperfect situation and is partly false. Aristotle focuses on the situation of being, which he considers being the whole truth. A table is a table. But for Hegel, a table was a tree and will become ash when burnt or thrown away. The Socratic dialogue of classical philosophy focuses on scrutinizing each option. Socrates loves to use euthymemes as the base of his argument, such as when he discusses the matter with Erythphro. Aristotle methods closely related to rhetorical dialogues. Several formulas from Aristotle show how the two disciplines are closely related. For example, Aristotle mentions that rhetoric is actually a different part of dialectic, or antistrophos. Rhetoric is also known as periphusti, or outgrowth of dialectic. During the medieval philosophy, many scholars studied based on classical philosophy, but the transformation is visible with more scholars including their own thoughts into the works.
Okay, once again, pretty dense stuff, guys. I know this is kind of like a put on the TV for the substitute teacher and everybody falls asleep. But again, stick with me. We're talking about this is from Elizabeth on Facebook. She says mind manipulation through government and media, and that's exactly what we're talking about tonight. And so this actually goes back. Think about this. We're talking about Plato and Aristotle and some of the way humans progress and their actual philosophy. Okay, and then we're talking about like an 18th or 19th century version of that with Hegel. And how the media and the government kind of use it today to manufacture a crisis, let's say. I'm sure we've all heard this from, we talked about Hillary Clinton has used this, or Rahm Emanuel, or it's not actually attributed to them. They've used this, but never let a crisis go to waste. That's actually a quote from what's his name? Rules for Radicals, from Saul Alinsky is the guy's name. So never let a crisis go to waste, right? So you have the problem, you create the whatever the antithesis of that problem is, the thesis, the antithesis, and then you end up with the resolve there. So, but the issue is when you create it and you can use the media to create the antithesis, you're creating the solution by measuring the antithesis that you want to let's say in however many steps away you want to create your new solution. Anyway, I explained that extremely poorly, but here we go. Here's the last part with Plato. Again, don't fall asleep on me. We're going to talk about government and crazy shit. We got David Icke too, clips from him tonight. If you guys want to hear some of that, so here we go. Last one of this boring guy, and then we're gonna keep on trucking here and read some of this other good stuff. But media, or as Elizabeth said one more time, mind manipulation through government and media is what we're talking about tonight, and through the Hegelian dialectic, which is also known as this: problem, reaction, and solution. So here we go. Here's part 3 of the Plato bit. Again, some deep philosophy stuff, goes back thousands of years, and this is the thing we should be wary of. These ideas go back thousands of years, but they're still using them against us today. Okay, this is not. I think the thing to kind of take away from all this is that some things you think that government may be inept or stupid, or the things that hiding behind the bureaucracy and all this other stuff, but they're extremely devious and they know exactly what the hell's going on here. Yeah, maybe not at the like say the lower levels. Let's say somebody just gets elected into the House. Probably not those folks, right? They go in there fresh-eyed and want to change things, right? They have some ideals, they got some things to say, and then Mitch McConnell or Nancy Pelosi smacks them down, because they are the Machiavellians here. They're the people that they have a plan, and this is part of it. So here we go. Last part from Plato. Don't fall asleep on me. We'll keep on trucking action.
Rhetoric, logic, and grammar are the trio important subjects of liberal arts. The studies are famously taught in many universities, and the dialectic is known to possess 7 steps of questioning to gain results. Hegel's 6 superior features of dialectic, against Plato's dialectical method, points out to the fact that his determinations clash to create a new unity that contain those old determinations. Instead of eliminating them when contradictions are found, a new synthesis is formed. Hegel's dialectics do not require new external ideas to be generated randomly. It also allows new synthesis to not be completely new, but consists of the old opinions. Just because a contradiction is found to be true, it does not mean the opposite is true, which allows this synthesis to be constantly tested for its truth. Hegel's concept of being, which is being for itself, is much simpler than something other. For example, an apple is an apple compared to other objects of similar characteristics. This comparison goes back and forth between different apples, which is complex. With something other, the comparison can go on a very long train. But being for self captures all.
Oh, I'm killing that. I know I lost half of you already. All right, there we go. You guys get the point, right? Like the Plato, good shit, right? Like goes way back, but we have Hegel kind of stirring this and mixing it up. Timothy says, "I feel like I'm back in Mrs. Huff's class." I assume that was that was philosophy. Okay, so here we go. Here we go. This will get more exciting here. So let's see. Let's pull up this article. Yeah, I know you're falling asleep. Everybody relax. We're going to go to some interesting stuff here. Okay, so we got this. Now, this is, let's see. We'll get to some examples of what this actually means, okay? Let's see. The standard definition of the Hegelian dialectic, interpretive method, we already did this, blah, blah, blah. Problem, reaction, solution, we already did this. Here's that article. I'm going to slap that up, and you guys can check it out. This is from, check this site out. It's called thedailyconspiracy.com. How about that? How about that? If it's not the daily conspiracy, it's the monthly conspiracy or the weekly or however it happens to be. But here we go. Here's some more information on the actual they call this the NWO strategy, the New World Order, right? At least on this website. And here we go. And here's more. If you want to read more on Plato and some of this more boring, I'm going to say boring. It's not boring to me. It's fascinating as hell. But if you guys read this stuff, I know it puts you to sleep. Or listen to it anyway on a stream here. You want to hear about the aliens and the hot shit, right? You want to hear about the government just taking over, right? No, sometimes we have to go back and explain ourselves first before we really go that far. But here you go. So here's from Stanford.edu. This is Hegel's dialectics and how it kind of mirrors the Plato's philosophy, except kind of takes it to the next step. And so the distinction, the important thing I want to point out, I said this a couple times, but I want to make sure you guys get it. So Plato said that if you the marketplace of ideas will bring human progression, okay? And so the good ones rise to the top, they're adopted, the bad ones disappear, okay? They go into history and forgotten. And that's how that's the linear progression, okay? And so notice that there's no mention of causing problems or creating a fake enemy to have a desired solution, but instead Hegel in turn decides that there's a faster way to go about this. And so the unfortunate part is, like I said, there's bodies in the streets sometimes, because look what's happening right now. So there's people dying all over the place, right? People getting whooped on, put in the hospital, actually losing their lives out there in these riots. And so you got to wonder, right? Think about it this way. We've had this huge the pandemic. Everybody's kind of locked up, bottled in, probably the largest unemployment number since the Great Depression. And we have like riots waiting to happen. Like many of us called this weeks ago, months ago, that if this continues, like we're going to have riots in the streets. Like people are going to just be dying, right? But then, unfortunately, this happens where they killed Floyd, and then we have this happens as a result, right? And so is that the result, or is that the government kind of positioning the media to tell us this is the result, and then putting it in our face constantly? And like I said, statistically, it's a terrible thing, but these things happen every day. Right? Not to say that this was not horrific because it was on video and all the rest of this, but was it manufactured in the sense that the media kind of pointed us in this direction and wanted this reaction from us as a way to maybe let the steam out from, let's say, the COVID epidemic, right? The unemployment rates and the people bottled up and the stir craziness. Okay, so now relax. I'm not saying that racism isn't real. Everybody chill. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that has the government taken advantage of this? So here we go. So here's some more Hegel's dialectics and stuff. Read up on this, again, by Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy. If you're not tired right now, read that shit. It'll definitely put you to sleep. Here we go. Now check this out. There's more. This is from newworldwar.org, and I got tons of great links. You guys can check this stuff out with me as always. And if you want to follow up and check out where I got this information from, all these links will be in the YouTube description box. So do check it out. So here we go. So problem, reaction, solution. This is the newworldwar.org. And so we already talked about that. So, okay. In his book, The New World Order, H.G. Wells said that to cause this global revolution, conditions of discomfort and resentment would need to be arranged. Similarly, Toffler mentioned that to accelerate the drastic changes that will be occurring globally, crises will be strategically placed on existing political systems. And that's exactly what we're talking about here. That's exactly how, instead of allowing things to progress the way they would normally, this is a way of kind of agitating things and kind of hurrying the process, regardless of how many people end up casualties of this. Okay, and so like they said in Fight Club, if you want to make an omelet, you got to break a few eggs, right? It's the same sort of idea here, where if you're agitating the progression, okay. Things change, certainly, except you're by agitating and choosing the antithesis of the thesis, the status quo as it begins, you end up manipulating it. And so it bastardizes progression in a way, okay? So here we go. So it says, without using crises, politicians will not be motivated to make these radical structural changes. This will only occur, he says, when the problem is already so advanced that they see no alternative. Quote, by seducing or terrorizing the population, Toffler suggests, it becomes possible to persuade one's subjects that the existing power system is not only inevitable and permanent, but morally right and proper, if not actually divine. And so, this is kind of like monarchy type stuff. This is ridiculous. So here we go. Problem, reaction, solution, also known as order out of chaos, has been used in some form for thousands of years. The use of this formula by various governments, groups, and individuals is a historical fact. In its basic form, it consists of using a fictional or real event. Okay, here we go again. A fictional, you can make this up, or a real event to start, such as a crisis, to bring about radical change. It is usually employed when the change to be brought about is controversial and or disliked. It often includes a type of framing called a false flag operation, which we've talked about quite a bit, which has been used by governments and the civilian sector. For example, the leadership of a country A wants the natural resources of country B, but the leadership of country A realizes that their citizens will oppose an unjust war. So the leadership of country A creates a problem by staging a terrorist attack against its civilian population. Through the media, the leadership of country A makes it abundantly clear that country B is responsible. We've seen this, right? We saw this with those gas attacks in Syria right after Trump was elected there, and he launched some missiles and shit. Like this is going on all over the world all the time, right? What's better than like an actual terrorist attack happening? For these sadistic assholes is that they can blame on somebody else and use to their advantage, okay? And this is what we're talking about here. This is the Hegelian dialectic, okay? It is one more time. It is, as we say, the problem, reaction, and solution. And it could be a real event as the initial problem or a something fake, okay? So here we go. There's a couple examples. Let's burn through these real fast, and you can see. I did link this, and you guys can check it out. But here we go. The Great Fire of Rome. On the night of July 19th in the year 640 AD, a fire broke out in Rome, which burned for a total of 9 days and destroyed about 2/3 of the city. Although fires were common in Rome, it is now believed that many of these fires were deliberately started by a Roman emperor, Lucius Domitius Nero. Nero. Everybody knows Nero. His real name, nobody gives a shit. His name's Nero, and he's a bastard, right? At an earlier date, Nero had petitioned the Senate with a plan to demolish 1/3 of Rome in order to build a series of villas and a lake, which he referred to as a Neropolis. The Senate, however, refused his request. Shortly thereafter, a fire spread across large sections of the city. Groups of citizens, apparently at the direction of Nero, prevented anyone from putting the fire out by threatening them with torture. Now, we've seen this in modern times, right? We have that thing in California, that high-speed rail. You guys remember that? That boondoggle, billions of dollars. It's going to cost like 10 or 12 or 15 or 20 times higher than they anticipated. We have land costs, land acquisitions that are actually let me choose my words carefully here, that are linked to the husbands of prominent California senators, fill in the blank. And so these land acquisitions, right, were extremely expensive, but then recall just recently those unprecedented California wildfires, right? Unprecedented. So it's not, I'm not suggesting they started the fires to do this, But I am saying it did lower the cost because they burned a bunch of shit, and now burned land and no infrastructure is cheaper to buy than anything else, right? Anyway, so it's similar type stuff, right? So Nero was like, nope, I want to build all this shit. They said, nope, you can't do it. He said, watch this. He just burned the shit down. And then there you go. There's one thing. We got. There's more here. You guys can read the rest of it. There's Hitler's Reichstag. I'm not going to talk about that because you talk about Hitler too much and people fucking rage. Not going to do that. Let's go to Operation Northwoods. Right, 1962, planned by the U.S. Department of Defense to stage acts of simulated or real terrorism in the U.S. and blame it on the Cuban government in order to generate U.S. public support for an invasion of Cuba. The plan included state-sponsored acts of terrorism having real casualties. In the early 1960s, announced ABC News in May of 2001, America's top military leaders reportedly drafted plans to kill innocent people and commit acts of terrorism in U.S. cities to create public support for a war against Cuba. And that was like snipers, people being shot in the streets and saying it was Cuban terrorists, and sinking ships, actually military ships that they had, that they would remove people from and then sink the ship and say there were casualties. There was all kinds of shit. Operation Northwoods, look it up if you guys don't believe me. So there's tons of stuff here where this kind of falls in line with exactly what we're talking about. Whether you have a crisis or not, right? The thesis itself doesn't have to be real. You could make it up, which becomes a false flag and more tinfoil hattery and all the rest of this. But there's historical basis for a lot of this stuff. How the governments have been dishonest and all the rest. Okay, so anyway, here we go. I'm going to skip a bunch of this shit because we got some really good clips. You guys got it here. So here we go. I'm linking this and you guys can check it out. This is NWO Today, the New World Order Today, the Hegelian process. So check this out and read this stuff. And you can, you too can follow along the rabbit hole path that Michael Strange took to make this show. So here we go. Here's another one. Anythingbox.wordpress.com. I'm going to link this as well. William, what's up? William says, remember weapons of mass destruction. That's a perfect point. And we've got some other examples that we'll get to in a sec. David Icke, some pretty good clips of him explaining what it is. But here we go. So here's more. Problem, reaction, solution. The strategy of creating a crisis, waiting for a call to action to resolve the crisis, and then taking action, which would be the solution supposedly in response, which actually furthers a hidden agenda, usually gaining power, right? Gaining power for the state and losing power for folks in liberty and the rest of these things, right? Giving away rights. So here we go, the Wiktionary.com. The link and all this crap, you guys, again, you read it. I ain't going to read it. We're a little bit behind. We got to get to where we got to get. So let's say, what's up, my Humies? I see you there on Twitch. Thanks for showing up tonight. Okay, so problem, reaction, solution is a conspiracy theory postulated by David Icke in which the government or another higher power manipulates the population by introducing a problem and then using their own means to solve that problem. So let's go to David Icke himself. I got a couple clips here where he's talking about this stuff. And he can give you some examples. And that Iraq war, right, the invasion of Iraq, is the weapons of mass destruction is a perfect example. And he actually cites that in this. So he talks about 9/11, some other stuff. Here we go. A couple clips of David Icke, and you can see what he's talking about. Again, problem, reaction, solution. And it is not his. This actually, Wiktionary.org attributes this to David Icke. He talks about it quite often, but it is not his. As we know, this goes back to, again, the dialectics of Plato, Aristotle, and then Hegel more recently. So here we go. Let's play David Icke, part one, action.
To me, as problem, reaction, solution. It works like this. You want to change society in a certain way here. You know that if you announce that openly, you're going to get an adverse reaction from the people. Imagine if the changes that have happened since 9/11 in terms of the destruction of freedoms and civil liberties had been proposed without 9/11. What you doing? We're doing. This is a fascist state. We're not having this. Oh, well, no, we've got to have it because the terrorists, problem, reaction, solution. So, you don't announce it openly. You, at stage one, create a problem. Terrorist bomb. I'm coming out. Terrorist bomb. I've got a wire loose. I read that in the Mirror once. He's got a wire loose, he said. They're right. And you create a problem. Terrorist bomb, war, run on a currency, credit crunch, rising food prices. Anything that will allow you to offer the solution you want to change society. You then tell the people the version of the problem that you want them to believe, i.e. Bin Laden did this, Lee Harvey Oswald did this. And the pathetic mainstream media, instead of investigating the official version, just repeat it to the people, and the people at stage two are supposed to react, and most of the time they do. React with outrage, with fear, and they say, something must be done, this can't go on, what are they going to do about it? At which point, those who covertly created the problem got that reaction, offer the solutions to the problems they have themselves covertly created. And those solutions are changes in society which advance the Orwellian state and the centralization of power, so the few can have more and more power over the many by this centralization of power.
Right, and so we've seen this quite a lot. Again, notice he's got some pretty good examples there. He's got some more examples here. I'll play this back to back so you guys can understand what's happening here. But again, David Icke, he's talking about a problem, reaction, solution, okay, and how government and media work together to manipulate the situation to get what they want in the end, okay? And so next time you want to get behind a cause, I think we should all be a little more suspicious of where this stuff comes from. Now, specifically, that let's say these riots here. Notice, go look it up. There's like random pallets of bricks that just show up everywhere. You guys seen this in some of these videos, right? It's like somebody out there really wanted this shit to blow up, right? And so they put them out there. Here we go. Let's see. I got this. Here's one cartoon. This is fantastic, and you guys can read this. Okay. So I'll read this in a sec, but here we go. Let's play part 2 of David Icke. And again, this is from 2010. He was talking about this clip is from 2010. David Icke. Let's go to part 2. He gives some more examples, but we're not even into COVID or what's happening now with the riots or any of this right now. So here we go. Part 2. So action. David Icke. Go.
So if you look at the Second World War, these bloodlines were behind Soviet communism. They were behind the capitalist countries, or cartelist countries in truth, of the West, and they were behind, including America, and they were behind Nazi fascism, bringing Hitler to power. They then bring them in conflict called a Second World War. Massive problem. The Second World War in just a few years, and people were saying in their desperate state, something must be done, this can't go on. They were open to stop this, no more war. And so we got the solution, we'll centralize global power. So out of this came the European Union, that was justified too, let's trade instead of fight, which sounded good at the time, but actually that wasn't the agenda. The United Nations, and an explosion of centralization of power in banking and business and politics on a global level, justified by the problem. None of which would have happened had it not been for the Second World War, which these bloodlines funded, including the Bush family. The George Bush's grandfather, Prescott Bush, was one of the major conduits for funding Hitler through a company called the Union Banking Corporation that interfaced with the banking and steel empire of a guy called Fritz Thyssen in Germany, who was an acknowledged funder of Hitler. And through that, how does anyone think that Germany went from thousands of % inflation to a war machine that can take on the world in a few years because of outside influence and support, because they wanted that war? There's even another version of this now called no problem reaction solution, i.e. weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. You don't even need a real problem. You just need the perception of it.
Right? So how good is that? So you can actually base this off of a real issue, right? And then you tip it on its head and decide how far you would like to take it, how far you think you can get away with, and then you use from the thesis, you do the antithesis, and then you get it's not I keep calling it the resolution. It's not that. There's another term for it. Anyway, here we go. Now here's another cartoon. This is fantastic. This is so there's a king sitting up on top of a tower. He's got an advisor next to him, and there's people like a mass of people underneath him, and he says they're torches and pitchforks, right? And the advisor, the king's got this Google-eyed look, like, oh shit, not my ass is grass, right? They've come for me finally, and the advisor says, oh, you don't need to fight them. You just need to convince the pitchfork people that the torch people want to take away their pitchforks. And you see how this works, right? So it becomes a psyop, an information operation, and an actual manipulation of what we see and believe through what? All the same stuff that we've always talked about, all the exact same stuff we've always talked about, which is division politics, right? Which is if you're rich or poor, if you're a man, you're a woman, if you're gay, you're straight, if you're this or you're that. It doesn't matter. Like if you're Republican, you're Democrat. It does not matter. They find 10,000 ways to divide us and make us hate each other, right? When you cross that party line, right, the blue line or the red line, you hate each other. You hate the fact that it's evil, right? You've literally turned the rest of your population, who is your ally, into something that's evil, okay? Based on propaganda that the state has pushed, okay, has given you. So think twice. Next time you want to hate a lefty, a liberal, a libtard, as they're called, right, negatively, or a right-wing nut job, or whatever you want, the alt-right, whatever you want to call these guys, right? Think twice. Think twice about what's really happening here. And we need each other. If we're going to change this stuff, if we stood together, think about this king in this cartoon with the Google eyes. He's basically like, oh shit, my ass is grass, right? Because the people have united against him. But if he can undermine that people being united, then what do we get? We get this. We get where we are today. And all you have to do is turn on any mainstream media source, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. They're completely stoking the fire. They're giving this to us on a silver platter, and it's a shit sandwich. And we're supposed to take this, we're supposed to eat this, and we're supposed to hate our neighbor. Okay? Guess what? Our neighbor is our ally against this corrupt bullshit government, okay? Against this corrupt bullshit media. And we need to see that. That's the whole point here. That's the whole point of this conversation. That's the whole point of why we do this and why we talk about these things, because the media will never expose themselves. But I think we can play a role in actually exposing them and bringing us together, everybody says, oh, we need leadership in this country, right? And they say that, oh, this president brought people together or that one didn't. And the fact is, none of them did. Okay? Not a single one, because they understand united we stand and divided we fall. And they realize they need to divide us if they're to get away with the bullshit. Like we said previously, many times previously, there's 535 Senate and House representatives. 535. You have the executive branch, you have the judicial branch, okay? Now look, all of that combined is what? Like 535, we got the president, whoever's in the executive branch, we got the Department of Justice, and then we have like the courts, right? So we're talking like a few thousand people here, like at the highest levels of this thing that run this joint, and there's 330 million people in this country. Think about that. If we were united and we stood in the street simply with the sign peacefully, in mass, by the millions, shit would change. Shit would change. It would have to. They would absolutely have to change, okay? They try and dirty deal it. They try and do backdoor things. They try and slip into the bottom of a huge bill, this other garbage. But if we're on the ball and we stick together, we can change things and not have to loot stores, not have to kick people's teeth in, not have to do the rest of this, guys. It's possible, okay? So stop hating. Stop hating. This is not what this is about. Many of you know, if you're here, you know this. You're here because you're like, what the F with the media? What the F with all this? You go on Twitter and it's a cesspool. You go on Reddit, it's a cesspool, right? Of people hating each other, calling each other names, and right, because of why? Because you put your toe across their party line and it's war. Think about it. Think about it. It is not you. You are not somebody who hates easily, okay? And so if you are easily stoked to hate now, it's become a lifetime of indoctrination of hate. You get it? It's us. We need each other, okay? We need our neighbor. We need people that are religious, people that are not religious. We need people that are black. We need people that are white. We need people that are rich. We need people that are poor. We need all of us to get together, not this division crap. So stop. Stop with this. Stop hating each other, okay? There you go. There's my soapbox moment for tonight. Let's move on. There's more of this. We got Henry Kissinger and the New World Order, right? Henry Kissinger's what? Basically the emperor, right, from Star Wars. he's like that's Henry. The dude won't die. He's like the clone. He's the clone that won't die, and he's always trying some new BS. Okay, I'm not going to get into this too much because whatever, we're a little bit behind. So there you go. You guys can read that if you want. This is a collectiveevolution.com. This is a pretty good website here, talking about more of this, the Hegelian Dialectic. Okay, a tool to enslave humanity, and it's exactly what I was talking about here. That's exactly what I was saying, is that they use this against us. They use our differences against us because they know it's natural. Tribalism is natural. It's built into the human condition. But if we can overcome that and overcome the media play on us, we can win this. And we don't even have to punch each other in the face, guys. We don't have to go and kick in a store and rob the Nikes. We don't have to do any of this. Okay? We don't have to fight the cops. Guess what? Because if we do right, the cops are on our side. Okay? Think. Be good to each other. Try and understand each other. Get past the media narrative of hate. And I'm telling you, things will change. So here we go. I'm going to smash some more of these, and then we'll keep on trucking here. But here's some more links. You guys can read up on this stuff if you want to. Joe says, "Don't forget strippers." Exactly. How on God's green earth are we gonna not do it without the strippers, right? So like that, they get maligned for being whatever they are, right? They're just trying to make a living too, like the rest of us. It's all good. It's all good there. Okay, so again, if you guys have comments on this, here's a great time for that. I have more information. We'll get to some more clips we'll play. And what did you think about David Icke? What do you think about this Hegelian dialectic? Plato? Do you think it's more natural to let it happen with the marketplace of ideas and philosophy, and for the good ideas to come to the forefront? Or do you think we need to agitate this? Do you think we need to turn this bitch upside down, set cars on fire, kick in stores, and punch people in the face? Do you think that's how change needs to happen? What do you think? You tell me. If you want to be part of the show, I want to know what you think about this. 702-957-1037. You can click the Discord link, and you can find both the phone number and the Discord link at troubledminds.org, and you can get in here and be on the show. But this is what it's all about, right? This is exactly where we're at right now. And if you look at every single thing going on in the media, like I said, they're not lazy. They are not lazy. The reason why they have the same 5 stories for 24 hours straight is because they want everybody to see the same stories, right? Because they want everybody to be of a similar mind, because they want the division to be ubiquitous across the country, all right? Regardless, based on whatever message it is. Again, like I said, look at me. I'm one dude, right? One dude with you. We're a team together. I put this shit together, though, all this information, right? There's a ton of information here. I have like 30 to 50 links every show, okay, where I'm parsing the news. I'm talking about not just the news itself. I'm looking at what it might mean, what it means for the past, what it means for the future, why we should be talking about it today. Like there's literally an unbelievable amount of information we should be talking about, and the news gives us 5 stories all day and all night, okay? Because it's brainwashing, and it's division politics, and it's garbage. And I'm telling you, reject it. Love each other. We need each other, and that's how things change. If we hate based on partisan lines, guess what? We lose. That's it. That's the way this works, okay? That's the way this game works. Here we go. So more crossroads.to. What is the Hegelian dialectic? You guys can read up on it yourselves. Do give me a call, though. 702-957-1037. What do you think about this? We got some more clips to play. I running a little bit short on time, so I'm going to just smash through this real fast. But you get it, right? You get it. This is nothing new. This is old-time philosophy and old-time division. And all we have to do is convince, right, as a leader, convince the torch people that the pitchfork people want to take their torches away, and then you win, because they're too busy fighting each other to really come get you. And if you look at Congress, right, you look at the courts, you look at the executive branch and the presidency over our lifetime. I'm not even going to say the last 4 years, the last 8 years, the last 12 years, over your whole damn lifetime. Look what's been happening. A whole lot of nothing and a whole lot of bullshit, right? A whole lot of garbage that favors the corporations that fund their campaigns, and a whole lot of shit they're taking from you that pays the taxes, okay? That's what's happening. Honest to God, that's what's happening here. And if you don't get it, well, I'm sorry. I just don't know what to tell you. Let's see. What else? Let's see. Got some good comments here. Okay, again, let me motor through this. We got some more real fast. Let's go. Here we go. What is this site? AmericanExpose.com. More on Hegel, the Hegelian dialectic. Again, right? We get the point. We've listened to the clips. We've done all the things. So, yeah, read more about this, because it's fascinating, right? And so when you think about it, we are in a time where this seems new, right? It seems like, well, like the media has changed in the last 4 to 6 years. And this shit is not new. This has been going on. Again, Plato, Aristotle were talking about this stuff thousands of years ago. This is ridiculous. And so here we are. So either we're too stupid, right? We don't spend enough time actually thinking about what's going on, or what's the other alternative here? Are they pulling a fast one on us? Are we really just hook, line, and sinker? Are we happy towing the party line? Are we happy? Are we happy because we think somehow we are superior given our logic versus our neighbor or a cousin or a brother? Is that what happens here? Of course not. That's silly. Think about it. All you got to do is think about it. Robert says they don't even hide the fact that they don't work for us. So, yep, they need to be removed. And that's what I'm saying. If we stand up, they will do what we say, okay? Because they work for us. They take our tax money after all, right? I want an opt-out. I want a tax opt-out. Give me that. Let's see. Todd says people are scared to let go. We don't need the big government and politics. Agreed, 100%. And then Joe says, nope, like Todd said, everyone stay home. Make them come to us. Make them try to evict us, force us out. Then you will see the puppet masters come out with private paramilitary using weapons against us. Maybe, but that's the thing, right? So think about it this way. Think about that. That's a good point. So this whole movement, right? Everybody knows what's going on. This whole deal that you see, defund the police, right? Defund the police. Think about that. Think about the absurdity of that. Okay, so you defund the police. What happens? We're like, okay, we need to stand up for impoverished and disenfranchised communities, and then we'd like defund the police. And then what happens, right? Because the police are so barbaric. Okay, then what? We have chaos in the inner cities, and then we have the rich areas with their own private security. So what gets better and what gets worse? The divide lengthens. That's what happens. The difference between this person and that person the chasm becomes greater and greater. And then what? And then what? Is that really what we want here? Of course not. That's ludicrous. It's ludicrous. So, I mean, just love thy neighbor, right? There you go. Todd says that is the message of Jesus. Love, not hate. And that's it, right? If we can understand each other and work harder to understand each other instead of working harder to hate each other, I'm telling you, go on Twitter. Just read any social media. Facebook, for crying out loud. I can't do Facebook. It's so cringeworthy. Like the way people go after each other on there, it's unbelievable, right? It's like and again, it's all partisan lines. It's all partisan lines. It's ridiculous. Okay, let's see. Again, if you want to be a part of the show, what are your thoughts on this? 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link. You can find both at troubleminds.org and can be part of the show that way. But yeah, I mean, this is not an accident. They know exactly what they're doing. Robert, there you go. Robert says defund the police and then the police will join us. No, the police will go get hired as private security for the rich folks. And then that's what will happen, right? Because they've got the experience. So it's just not as simple as that. It's just not as simple as that, right? I know it's like it's a buzzword. It's a what would you call it? A progressive idea. No, come on. Let's be real, guys. Let's be real. Go look at, like I used this example before. Look at Mexico, right? Is that what you want with the police force? So you have all the police taking bribes instead because they're defunded and not paid, right? No, of course not. Like the world turns upside down. So no, of course not. Paul says they will put us in sanctuary cities for our own protection. Yeah, there you go. Exactly. Right? Because there's only police allowed here, not police allowed there because we can't afford it. Anyway, it's not that, guys. Just stop with that, please. That is not a thing. That is not a actual way beyond this. If we stop hating, we can stand up to them and make them change without kicking each other in the teeth even. Okay, there's a way through this. Okay, let's go. We got here's some more phone calls. Go ahead, buzz them through. I'll put you on, and otherwise we're going to keep going. We got hubpages.com. Again, the Hegelian Dialectic, the number one tool of the Illuminati, with some examples. Here we go. This is a great website. Some of these websites are fantastic. You know the sources how they are. Some are really good, some are really bad. But hey, we're kind of in between here. So let's go with this one. We're going to look at this, and this is go. Hubpages.com, the Hegelian Dialectic, the number one tool of the Illuminati, with some examples. All right, so a very long article, pretty good stuff. Some examples. Let's see. We got some examples. Where are they at? Come on, they're in here somewhere. Maybe this is the wrong article. Okay, how to recognize the 3 steps. 1, the problem. The problem can be any major catastrophe big enough to be on the news for many weeks. All right, think about that. So notice how some things in the news, they stick for like weeks or months even, all right? Like I said, it's not an accident. One dude here curating the news gets 30 to 50 articles every time I do a show, all right? 30 to 50 sources saying contradictory things even, because I think it's important to talk about both sides, okay? But the news, for somehow, some way, gets 6 months worth of coverage from one event. What do you think they're trying to do? Okay. Recognize the problem. Okay, so there it is. So the problem could be take one of 3 forms: created solely for the purpose of bringing on the solution. But most people won't see it that way because they are led to believe that they are bad guys out there that cause this problem. Most applications are in this category. 2, there is no real problem, which is the weapons of mass destruction, like David Icke there said. There's no real problem, but the general population is led to believe that there is. A real problem isn't required, but only the perception of it. Examples are, okay, this is the site. Everybody get ready to rage. Examples are global warming, later called climate change, and Saddam Hussein's alleged weapons of mass destruction. There you go. So there's a couple examples, right? Notice, I think, okay, no matter where you come down on the global warming, climate change thing, think about this for 1 sec. This was the most existential threat of our existence, right? Of the near future. And look how that was dropped like a hot potato. What does that tell you, right? Like, things are the most important thing in the world, or they are not. And they don't change based on what happens on a media clip, on a video, or a soundbite. You understand what I'm saying? These things don't change. If they're the most important things, we should be talking about them every single day regardless. Just like we do, right? The way I see it, we're talking about the most important things to me, to us on this show, to this group, to people that think, that try and get outside of the media paradigm. That's what we're doing here. It's important, right? I don't get paid to do this. I pay my own money to do this show. No sponsors, no commercials, because we're beholden to us. It means we can say what we want and nobody tells us to shut up. It's important, okay? The rest of these clowns, they can't say the same. They have sponsors. They have to make sure they toe the line. They have bosses. They have billionaire owners. They have the rest of this. Anyway, there we go. There's number 1, how to recognize the 3 steps, the problem. Okay. So the reaction, right? Here we go. So, of course, turn on the news. There you go. Turn on the news, you get your reaction. And no matter what's going on, anytime, day or night, you can turn on the news and you will get the reaction to what the actual problem is. Whether the problem is real, whether the problem is fake, okay? Then, of course, what do we get? So they say repetitive coverage invokes prolonged fear. And like I said, why does the news do 5 stories 24 hours a day? That's why. Repetitive coverage invokes prolonged fear, all right? Then we have the solution. Here we go. An event that was not created by the elite but is taken advantage of, nonetheless, to help support some solution already in the queue, right? So they already have ideas they want to push through, and then when something happens, they can go, oh, well, we can use that to push this agenda through legislatively, et cetera, so on. You get it. You guys get it. You're not dummies. I'm not going to belabor the point here, but you get it, right? You get it. Here we go. We're gonna move on. We're gonna talk about this. There you go. Elizabeth says we don't need their fear porn. Exactly. Like, and funny, many of them would call me a doom monger, right? Like, I'm a conspiracy theorist. I talk about aliens and ghosts and some other bullshit, right? We talk about time travel and consciousness. Like, wow, this guy's nuts. He doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. Well, why don't you listen to what I'm actually saying in between the lines, right? When we're not talking about that stuff. I think it's important. It's entertaining, 1. 2, they don't cover it, so we should. And 3, look at this other stuff. The Hegelian Dialectic. Okay, when's the last time you heard anything about Plato or Aristotle on the news, or Hegel or Marx or there's more. I'll remember them in a sec. It's hard. I'm unscripted. You guys know how it is. Okay, here we go. Let's keep on moving. There's more of this. There's absolutely more of this. Here we go. So rooshv.com. More of this Hegelian Dialectic. Here we go. Linking it. You guys can check it out. Do call if you want to be part of the show. 702-957-1037. And I want to know what you think. I'm going to slow down. I'm going to slow down and drink some beer. I usually talk fast because we have a lot to get through, but at this point, I want to know what you think. Are there any situations in your lifetime where maybe you were younger and maybe indoctrinated, let's say, and didn't really realize what the news was doing to you or trying to do to you? And you thought, oh, well, this seems like a natural thing. And now, when you look back on it, you realize you were probably had, right? They pulled the wool over your eyes, and they got away with something because they told you, they lied to you. The whole thing was a fabrication, right? And again, the Iraq War comes to mind. How about the ongoing war in Afghanistan that we've been there for freaking ever, right? I'm sure Afghanistan's such a gigantic threat. I mean, like, why are we still there? What's going on with that stuff? It's ridiculous. Okay, so what is it? How do you guys feel about this? Beer is good, says Paul. Hell yeah, cheers, buddy. But how do you feel about this? This is exactly, we're like waist deep in this bullshit, and this is what we do, right? This is exactly what we do, and why we talk about this. It's important. Okay, 911 beer is what we're drinking. Okay, fair enough. Or do you dial 911? Let's see. Penny says I've been calling MI5 when someone disagrees with me. That would be the United Kingdom's CIA, right? FBI. What are they? I have no idea. Let's see. Who else? We got some good comments here. Let's see. Penny says everyone gets called shill when they don't agree with them. David Icke has given up his life and career for this. So definitely good stuff. My Hummies, what's up on Twitch, says, what side of politics will alien invaders be on? Well, I think that's the thing, right? So alien invaders should potentially, like Reagan said in the 80s, bring us together. Like Independence Day said, ID4, with Bill Pullman making the famous speech, right? Like, today we celebrate our Independence Day, right? Where we put our differences behind us, and we will not go without a fight, right? All this, remember that great speech, right? Like that's what aliens should do to us. But I don't know. What if they say the aliens are right wingers? Then what? Then what, guys? I mean, like this is exactly it. This is exactly what's going on. So if I think that's why we have to be especially careful with this disclosure bit. Okay, so back to aliens for just a second. It's that we're basically given the disclosure through government sources. Okay, and if they're not, they're closely tied to intelligence sources, whether they are or are not. And I think we need to be very, very careful about what information we consume from those sources and how much we believe. That's my opinion. You can have your own opinion, as always, in everything. I'm not telling you what to think or say or do, for that matter. But think about that. Like, how much of that can we believe when it's coming from the government, when we can pretty much believe in nothing the damn government tells us? So, yeah, crazy stuff. Yeah, MI5 is the UK Secret Service, so is the CIA. Okay, perfect. Let's see. My Hummy says, not to bulldoze this stuff with alien stuff, but the Mage Brazil incident last month was interesting. Did a show on that. If you want to check it out, we did a whole show on that like not too long ago, maybe a week, 10 days ago, something like that. So do check it out. We actually looked at some of the footage and some of the things they were saying, some of the social media, and it looks suspicious to me. It looks like it was concocted. So go check that out, and maybe I'm wrong. I'm only going off what I can see and what I can do and what I can look at from right here. I don't have boots on the ground. So there we go. All right, here we go. A couple more good comments, and we'll keep on trucking. This is one more, gulagbound.com, right? You like that website? Gulagbound.com. Hegelian and Marxian dialectics, how to persistently destroy society. And that's really what this comes down to, right? So it's not about a smooth transition. It's about setting shit on fire, flipping shit over, and remaking everything as quickly as possible, regardless of the body count. Okay, that's the thing, right? So you can either let things happen peacefully, or you can push the narrative, let's say, and have a plan and a false flag attack, and bam, people are flipping cars, people are punching each other in the face, and it's nasty. So Robert says, yep, first time was when they tagged Oswald as the lone assassin of JFK. We haven't done one on that. We'll do that at some point. Okay, here's Quora, right? Some Hegelian dialectics. Again, tons and tons of information here. I read through tons of stuff so I could tell this story. And again, I think it's important. We're not talking about it unless it's important. So here we go. Link in this, and you guys can check it out per usual. This is some answers on Quora and what they think about Hegel and the dialectics. And there you go. So let's see. Kent Palmer here says on Quora says dialectics are a way of seeing what happens. It is not necessarily what happens itself. The best thing to do is read Phenomenology of Mind, because the dialectics that in that book are not so reified as we get in Hegel's logic. The basic point is that we have hold on, let me read this here properly. Holy shit, this comment is ridiculously long. All right, you guys can read that. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'll read the first paragraph. The basic point is that in ever different ways of looking at things that arise together in relation to each other, all in a sense cancel each other out or contradict each other, so that the only way to see your way out of the situation is to rise to a higher level of understanding that at once accommodates the contradictions and rises above them. The movie is called Offenburg, but then it eventually causes a proliferation of viewpoints in the next level that are irreconcilable. Maybe we could all Offenburg the reconciliation of the irreconcilable, says this guy. Kent Palmer. Well written, obviously. There's more here. You can read this. Again, I linked it, Quora. But again, right? Like there's smart people thinking about these things, and the media are not smart people. They're propagandists, right? Maybe they're smart and devious from the top down. But you turn it on and watch. You know what I'm talking about. So there we go. There's more of this. Let's see. We got some clips. Let's play a couple more clips and then we'll finish this out. We got about 15 minutes or so. So if you want to be part of the show, let me know. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link. What do you think about this? Do you think that many of the things in your lifetime that have happened politically, the major political swings left or right, up or down, backwards or upside down, do you think these things have actually been like a Plato version of this dialectic, where suddenly learning new things about new data kind of comes out. Science is respected and not undermined at every turn. And the same scientific paper, you get 10 dudes with 10 different opinions, and then the legislature that doesn't know what the F they're doing. Do you think that's natural, that we get more and more stupid as humans and more convoluted with our legislature? Or do you think that this is agitated? Do you think this is not, like I said earlier, it's not an accident? Like this is actually an intentional thing, that we become more obtuse with our legislation and our representation, and as a result, it's planned. It was planned all along. You tell me. What do you think? 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link. Tons of good information here. We're going to keep on moving. There's a few more. Actually, let's play a clip. We're going to play a clip. I promised a clip. We got some good stuff here. Oh, here's a good example, right? So we're going to go back. We're going to go back to 1968. So there's actually some very similar things happening now. That this is a better clip than that boring Plato one, trust me. So we're going to go through this. Now, 1968, okay, we had the civil rights thing happening, okay? Again, right? And it seems like history seems to repeat itself, doesn't it? All right, now listen to this. This is a quick little blurb about what happened in 1968 and how maybe the government was involved, and maybe we should be suspicious right now of how deep the government is involved in the COVID business, one, and the misinformation with that, and then two, the actual the riots that are going on. So let's play this. Action.
But what is the best way to sell big government and then world government to a people like ours, historically devoted to an independent republic of limited powers? The answer is simple. In revolutionary literature, the tactic is known as pressure from above and below. It's the strategy that Colonel House laid down in his book, Philip Drew, Administrator. Deliberately create problems, and then offer only those solutions that result in the expansion of government. Create conditions so frightful at home and abroad that the abandonment of personal liberties and national sovereignty will appear as a reasonable price for a return to domestic tranquility and world peace. If those who seek world dominion can stimulate leftist mobs into violent confrontation with local law enforcement, and also provide exhaustive news coverage so that the entire nation can see and tremble, then the peaceful and freedom-loving majority can be programmed to accept a vast expansion of government powers and even a national police force, offered supposedly to end the violence. If those who seek world dominion can raise the specter of an enemy armed to the teeth with superior atomic weapons on the verge of launching a nuclear holocaust, and also offer world government as the prevention, then millions of Americans can be programmed to accept the loss of national sovereignty as our last best hope for peace. This is the meaning of pressure from above and below. To put over police state measures at home, they need chaos, crime, and anarchy in the streets. To sell the idea of world government, they need the constant threat of nuclear war. Or, as they say in revolutionary circles, the real action is in the reaction.
There you go, right? So again, now this is the problem, and this is the rhetoric. So by suggesting that the riots and the demonstrations, whether you think it's predominantly peaceful or predominantly not, however you think, whatever media you've consumed to come to that conclusion, like by even suggesting that it's not organic, that it's somehow been stoked by the media or the government or like devious actors, like we talked about maybe Project Veritas. Again, I'm not saying they did it, or let's say the Open Society Foundation. Like, I'm not saying they did it, but it's likely that maybe both of them are involved here, right? And many other factions. And this is the thing. There's so many billionaires in this world that have agendas. and they have money to burn, and they pay people to do ridiculous things to further agendas, and that's the point, right? But to suggest that the way the rhetoric is now is to say Michael Strange are a racist, right? That would be the initial you don't value black lives, right? No, that's not what I said at all. I said that maybe they're using this against you. They're using this to make you take your eye off the ball, okay? And that's important. It's definitely important, okay? But we can do more than one thing at once, all right? We can do 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 things at the same time. So, yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. The rhetoric is Michael Strange are racist, right? Because how dare I suggest, right? But think about it. Watch what the media tells you, okay? Watch how this stuff churns out in these media farms. It's important. It's important to know what you think and why you think it, right? It's definitely. Yeah, give me a call. Let's see. I see you there, X-Ray Gun on Mixer. Yeah, definitely call. 702-957-1037. We got time for you. Got about 15 minutes left. We got a couple more clips to play here. But yeah, do call and let me know. Let me know what you think about this. Again, like I said, you have to tiptoe. Like to have a discussion like this, you have to tiptoe, right? Because if you go too far left or too far right from the middle here, like one side tunes out and gets pissed off, the other side tunes out, it calls me a racist, right? Whatever it is, right? Like, oh, you're not QAnon, you're not for Trump, or the other way, you're racist, you are for Trump, whatever, right? Like, no, none of that. Like, none of that. Like, listen to what I'm saying to you. Just consider that maybe we've been bamboozled, all of us. Okay, not me, not you or just a few of us. I'm saying all of us. That's what I'm saying. So anyway, there we go. I don't think there we go. Paul says it's too late to do anything but die. I disagree. Think about it. If you deprogram yourself and you unplug from the narrative that is, and we stand together, we can change things non-violently. We don't have to fight. We don't have to go into the streets and beat each other with sticks. We just don't have to do that. So there we go. What else do we got? Let's see. Ellie, what's up? So, love over hate, peace over war. We all live on this planet. We all breathe the same air. All lives matter. We should respect each other, one another. Everyone should put others first. Now, look, that's the thing. Somebody else said that. All right, don't get pissed off because somebody said all lives matter, right? So that's the dog whistle, right? That's the racist dog whistle. No, it's not. It's really not. Deprogram yourself. Like, think about it. Like, think about that. If that had a reaction in your gut when that was said, right? When I read that, when I repeated that, if you literally think that it's evil, right? It's evil. Think about the words. This is literally dystopian. This is 1984. Think about the words. Double think, double speak, right? The words you say don't even mean the words that you say anymore. This is where we're at. So yeah, there you go. Michael Strange the racist. There you go. There you have it. Whatever you want to call me, you go after it. Okay, but what we're saying, band together, guys. We're saying back each other up, and it doesn't matter the differences. Rich, poor, black, white, gay, straight. It doesn't matter. That's the point. Stand up for each other, and we can stand together. Yeah, do give me a call, X-Ray Gun, and there you go. Okay, so 702-957-1037. Put it up on the stream, and then we'll play the rest of this clips. Again, this is 1968 human rights movement, right? This is what was happening then. It was the same sort of thing, right? History repeats itself. Here's part 2 of that, and we'll keep on moving. If you want to call, you know what to do. Numbers up. Action.
In 1968, Random House Incorporated published this book by James Coonan, The Strawberry Statement, Notes of a College Revolutionary. Coonan carries the usual New Left credentials and is a classic example of the extent to which a highly intelligent mind can be programmed by the establishment into thinking that it is acting against the establishment. Coonan was one of the leading participants in the first student seizure of an American university, which occurred at Columbia in April of 1968. Initially, the movement was not large and easily could have been stopped by a simple police action. But as usual, the anti-establishment forces received their greatest help from the establishment itself. For several days, police were told not to interfere. Meanwhile, university officials groveled in the face of outrageous propaganda charges, and the media made national heroes of the rebelling students. MGM even made a movie out of Coonan's book. On page 130, Coonan wrote, "In the evening, I went up to the U to check out a strategy meeting. A kid was giving a report on the SDS convention. He said that At the convention, men from Business International roundtables, the meeting sponsored by Business International for their client groups and heads of government, tried to buy up a few radicals. They offered to finance our demonstrations in Chicago. We were also offered ESSO, or Rockefeller money. They want us to make a lot of radical commotion so they can look more in the center as they move to the left. Jerry Kirk, while a student at the University of Chicago, was active in the SDS, the Du Bois Club, the Black Panthers, and the Communist Party. In 1969, Mr. Kirk broke from the party, and the following year testified before the House and Senate Internal Security Committees. Here is what Mr. Kirk has told us. Young people have no conception of the conspiracy strategy of pressure from above and pressure from below. They have no idea that they're playing into the hands of the establishment they claim to hate. The radicals think they're fighting the forces of the super-rich, like Rockefeller and Ford, and don't realize that it is precisely such forces which are behind their own revolution, financing it and using it for their own purposes.
There you go, right? So you understand what I'm talking about. You understand exactly that this is history repeating itself, and it's not an accident. So here we go. I'm going to burn through the rest of these. There's 2 more clips here, and then we've got some COVID stuff if we want to get to that. But we have time for you. If you want to give us a call, be on the show, tell us what you think about this. Feedback for the show is great. If you want to just say hi, if you want to put in your 2 cents about this and how you think it maybe relates today or does not, perfect, no problem. All of that is welcome. You guys are all welcome on the show all the time. So do give me a call, 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link. You can find both the phone number and the Discord at troubledminds.org, the official website. Here we go. 2 more clips, and then we can wind this up. Action.
When Stokely Carmichael was head of the militant revolutionary group known as SNCC, he was invited to speak at the University of Chicago. Jerry Kirk, then still a Black Panther, was among those who attended. And here is how he described Carmichael's appearance. Mr. Carmichael was obviously in the middle of something rather important, which made him more nervous and more tense than in the past. He started speaking of things which he said he could not have said before because his research was not finished. He spoke of the false consciousness of many blacks who believed the Jews were the instrument of oppression of blacks. And he made note of the fact that even though many Jewish people, for example in New York, own quite a bit of land, one must understand that the overwhelming percentages of mortgages in Harlem was owned not by Jewish people, but by Morgan Guarantee Trust, the Morgan family, and Chase Manhattan Bank, the Rockefellers. He repeated the line from the song he liked so well. Something is happening here, but you don't know quite what it is, do you, Mr. Jones? What he was getting at was that the Jews were simply one strata of society who are themselves being oppressed by people who were much richer and much more powerful. In the agencies of this power, he cited banks, the chief among which were Morgan Guarantee Trust and Chase Manhattan, and the foundations connected with these monoliths.
And funny how those names are still in play now, aren't they? It was 1968. I'm going to reboot this sucker so we can play the last clip or 2 without that stutter. But yeah, so give me a call. What do you guys think? 702-957-1037. Join the Discord. Does this sound similar? Does this sound familiar, right? They want black people to hate the Jews. They want the Jews to hate the black people. And yet, here we are, J.P. Morgan, right? The Rockefellers, like these same damn oligarch families that have been slinging around the money forever and actually pulling the strings forever, right? By owning media conglomerates, newspapers, and everything else. So, I mean, this is where we're at. This is what we do, and this is why we talk about this. And again, right? So again, like a little bit racially charged with some of the stuff you're hearing, but this is from 1968. This is not new, okay? And then we're doing it all over again. We're doing it all over again. So what are we missing? Okay, like who's the money behind this that's actually stoking this fire? Who's the one that's telling us we should hate each other? Who's the one that says kill whitey, right? Who's the one that says kill black people? Who's the one that says hate Jews, right? Who's the one that says hate gay people, right? Somebody somewhere out there is concocting this, and they're putting it and using it against us. Again, think about that comic. The King on the Wall, torches and pitchforks, he is fucked. His advisor says, you don't have to fight them. just convinced the torch people that the pitchfork people want to take away their torches. And that's us. Welcome to society, guys. This is where we live. This is unfortunately what this is all about. And here we are, right? Again, I know. I towed some lines. I stepped over some lines. Michael Strange is a racist now, right? But think about it. This is 1984. This is Orwellian. Think about it. 2 + 2 does not equal 5, right? It does not. So no matter what you tell, when somebody says something positive, you cannot turn it into a negative because it doesn't toe the party line. Okay? You can't. 2 + 2 does not equal 5, all right? So here we go. A couple more clips. We're going to play this, and then we'll keep on moving. But how do you feel? How does this make you feel? Are you guys pissed off? Did everybody rage quit? Is everybody gone now? Did everybody take off and like go kick in the door and beat the dog? Everybody go do that. Call your neighbor some racial slurs and turn on some shitty media. Is that what happened? Is that no? I have a feeling no, because you guys are too smart for that, right? You can toe some lines. You can talk about uncomfortable things. But listen, this is what they don't want us to do. Because if we can talk about uncomfortable things and get together, we can defeat them. And again, I can't explain. I can't spend enough time explaining how important that is. So there we go. A couple more clips of this from 1968 stuff. We got a phone call we're going to take right now. We'll play the rest of these clips, hopefully without stuttering, and then we'll finish this. We'll finish this up. We'll finish it up. Let's see. All right. So let's see. Penny says, Mike, do you have Amazon Prime? I do. Interesting new movie called The Vast of the Night. And was like a movie-length color version of a Twilight Zone or other Limits episode. No, haven't seen it. I will put it on the list of 10,000 things I should watch. Thank you. Again, most of you know that I don't watch a lot of TV or movies or anything else. So I do my best to get them on the super the ones that I have to watch. Okay, so put it on the list. Keep reminding me, and at some point I definitely will. It's called. What is this called? Vast of the Night. Vast of the Night. Okay. Appreciate that. Thank you. I got somebody taking notes here. He's going to mark it down for me. Thank you, Jason. All right, here we go. So we're going to go with this phone call, and then we'll keep on moving here. You're on Trouble Minds with Mike. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
Zach, calling from Dallas.
Zach from Dallas. What's happening, man? What's on your mind tonight?
Yeah. Have you ever heard of the Kardashev scale?
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
Scale?
Definitely.
I think that this is ultimately all about that, transitioning from a 0 to a type 1. That's what I think this is. I think this is a small part of a large plan to, keep everyone doing crazy and thinking crazy, and then propose an alternative that doesn't seem so bad. The pattern follows. They can get everybody working in very controlled ways to produce raw materials and assembly and just whatever, manufacturing jobs, whatever. They'll reach their goal that much more quickly. So obviously that would seem a lot better, right?
So it is about breaking it down. Better. So you got to break it first before you rebuild it, right?
Yes.
So what we're seeing right now is like society being broken over the knee and proverbially thrown into the fire, right?
They've been doing it, yes, and they've been doing it continually in stages over the decades. Around the 1920s or so is when there was a real singularity in technological advancement and understanding. And since then, it's been about getting the engineering to catch up. And to do that, you have to continually cycle the economy to get it where it needs to be. It's all about globalization. This all feeds into globalization. And the point in globalization is to go from a 0 to a type 1. And that's as far as my thoughts on it go. I mean, the motivation for that, for these billionaires you mentioned earlier and, the top people in power, maybe it's personal power. Maybe they are in contact with, the little green men. And this is what has to happen for us to join some larger group. I don't know. Or it could just be, personal power and greed. I don't know, but I think ultimately it's about transitioning from 0 to 1 and harnessing energy on a planetary scale as opposed to just raw, oil and all that. Being able to use everything to control our entire planet. Yeah, that's
perfect.
what I think
let me read this.
Ultimately, all about.
Don't run off. Smart call.
Sure.
Hang on one sec. I'm going to explain Kardashev's scale for people that don't get this. Okay, I got it up on the screen. This is from Wikipedia, the Ministry of Truth, I like to call them. The Kardashev scale is a method of measuring a civilization's level of technological advancement based on the amount of energy they're able to use. The measure was proposed by Soviet astronomer Nikolai Kardashev in 1964. The scale has 3 designated categories. A Type 1 civilization, also called a planetary civilization, can use and store all of the energy available on its planet. Okay, and then a Type 2 is a stellar civilization, can use and control energy at the scale of its planetary system. And then a Type 3 would be can control energy at the scale of its entire host galaxy. Okay, so we're talking Type 1 is you can harness all the energy on the planet. Type 2 is harness all the energy in your solar system. Type 3 is going to be the entire galaxy. And so, of course, if we're probably encountering aliens or little green men, like you said, right, just to give them a name, then we're probably talking like a Type 2 civilization at least at that point. So, like, it does. It. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead. Smart call. Your call. Go for it, man. No, smart comments.
I'm just agreeing with you. At least a Type 2 for sure. But yeah, that's ultimately where I think this is going. And I think the movie Elysium is a good kind of just visual representation. I'm not trying to say that's exactly what's happening or that's what it's going to look like, but it's a good analogy movie. It's a good way to kind of envision what is going on. And then also look at this huge push that we've seen in the past few years to colonize Mars by a lot of different, elite people. You got Elon Musk pushing it. I forget the guy's name, but you can see it all over. I don't not National Geographic, but he had some sort of there's some Mars colony show going on right now, and there's a lot of different people pushing that whole idea, which I don't necessarily think is a bad idea inherently, but it all just kind of plays together. There's a general push to get off the planet, but who's actually going to get off the planet? And how many of us are being, essentially used as just kind of a
farmed like
cattle
animals.
Labor force to get it going. Yeah.
Yeah.
For just a few to go hang out with the aliens and reap the. I mean, I don't know, but it's certainly interesting to think about and to look at. And when enough pieces start to fit together and point towards a certain direction, no matter how outlandish that idea might be, at what point do you have to say, okay, there might be something there, and as crazy as it sounds, it's got to be at least in the general correct direction. And, anyone who follows sci-fi or is a huge sci-fi fan, such as myself, we know that science fiction, has proven throughout the past couple of hundred years to essentially predict what's going to happen. H.G. Wells and what was that, Man in the Moon, or some story about going to the moon, and not only what was it, like 100 years later, we were sending astronauts to the moon. Star Trek. Communicators, flip phones, the iPads. We've all got it.
Yeah, Gene Roddenberry, Isaac Asimov, George Orwell, Philip K. Dick, Arthur C. Clarke. Yeah, exactly. There's so many. Clarke. Yeah. It's and again, like you're right. Like it seems that even without like an inkling of the amount of technology that we would have so soon, we were predicting this stuff. And you're right. And this is scary. So let me ask you: do you think, real quick, before we finish this up, do you think it's possible with us going to like the asteroid belt and maybe mining the moon? Do you think it's possible to skip this breaking society over the knee and maybe become like a post-scarcity world without destroying the entire global structure? Do you think that's a possibility?
No. And simply because of the historical precedent that, typically new creation arises from destruction. It's part of the cycle of life and death. We're just seeing it on a grand scale. Death makes room for new life. That's just fact. It's part of the cycle. That doesn't mean I don't think underhanded things are happening. I think that it could be done with minimal destruction. I think it could be done with minimal loss of life. I think it could be done in the light of day, saying, hey, people, this is our plan. This is what we want to do. It'll better the entire species. So let's all pull together and work together to get it done, and it'll benefit all. Because think about it, if you're pulling in a lot of resources from the asteroid belts and the moon and all, we're talking about basically more precious metals out there than we have on the planet combined. You're going to crash the entire economy. Well,
but post scarcity,
what does that matter?
So everybody has what they need.
Exactly.
So it shouldn't matter. Exactly. Yeah. I don't know.
It shouldn't matter.
So it's possible.
So why do it under the cover of darkness?
Exactly, because they want to thieve. They want to keep the structure just in place enough, like you said, to keep us useless eaters working, to build the rockets for them, so that they can go to Mars and get the precious metals, right? so it's like, so again, it's still, even though we're talking about going to space as a human race here, we're still talking about a grand conspiracy, because that's probably what's going to happen, because we've been manipulated all along. Right? As soon as the big government came into play, it's all manipulation all the time, man. Sick.
Mm-hmm.
Sick.
If I could say one more thing.
You got it, buddy.
Just real quick. If this is such a good thing for humanity, which I believe it could be, then why does it have to be kept under this cloak of darkness, and why does it have to be hidden? Why is it being perpetuated with lies? That's it. That's all I wanted to say right there. So,
and one comment I want to read.
It could be a good thing.
Exactly. Yeah. It's simple.
Yeah.
Todd here in chat says, such a simple message, and we as a society cannot accept it. And the powers that be can't even give us a simple message because they don't trust us with it. So yeah, totally good, man. Zach good. from Dallas. I appreciate the call. First time caller, yeah? Where'd you find us?
Texas. Yeah, I've never heard of you guys until tonight. I was scrolling Facebook and I saw the title, The Little Green Men, Aliens Conspiracy, and I was like, oh, this looks cool. Let's see. And I started listening and listened to some of the broadcasts you were posting from the 50s and 60s and yeah, hey. You found a new fan tonight. I just had to call.
I appreciate it. I have to ask because we've been suppressed quite a lot, right? So I was wondering if you saw it on Reddit or where you were. So I appreciate that. So you just kind of scroll on Facebook and they haven't completely censored us yet. That's good news. Glad to have you, Zach. I like having like-minded people.
First time I've ever seen it.
Appreciate it, my man. Thanks for hanging out.
Thank you, sir.
Tuesday and Friday is when we stream. Love to see you then. Thanks for calling.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Thanks, man. Have a great night. Zach from Texas. See? How great is that? You get a first-time caller, and not only that, think about it, right? We attract smart people, right? Think about that. Like, how many loonies do we get calling in the show? Not a lot, right? Like, I don't mean to judge people on that, but I think we can all agree Zach's a smart dude, and that was some pretty smart points, the Kardashev scale, and that's maybe where we're headed. I'd never thought about it in terms of that. So definitely good stuff. Okay, a couple more clips here we're going to play because I got the thing reset. Again, we have time for you. We have no sponsors to appease. We have no time limits. There's no show coming on after us. We got Jimmy Jack coming on at top of the hour. We got none of that shit. We don't do that. So we got time for you. Okay, so if you want to be part of the show, you want to add on to what Zach said there, or what anything I've said, or anybody that called previously. Whatever, you want to say hi, show feedback, give us a call, 702-957-1037. And I'm going to play the last couple clips here, and then we'll end this sucker up. So Here we go. Part 3 of what was happening in 1968 and how they're trying to, again, break down society over their knee and proverbially throw it in the fire. Here we go.
When Stokely Carmichael was head of the militant revolutionary group known as SNCC, he was invited to speak at the University of Chicago. Jerry
Wait,
Kirk,
shit, I
then
played that
still
one,
a
didn't
Black
I?
Panther, was among those who attended.
I think I played that one. Let's go part 4. Here we go. Action.
It was not long after this that Stokely Carmichael mysteriously was ousted from both SNCC and the Black Panthers. Apparently, he had learned too much. More and more young radicals are beginning to wake up to the fact that their entire lives have been carefully programmed by the very people who are their hate symbols. They're beginning to realize that their so-called anti-establishment outlook actually is the calculated product of the establishment press, the establishment communications media, the establishment entertainment industry, the establishment schools. Rich men's corporations publish and popularize revolutionary books and songs. Through advertising, rich men's businesses subsidize revolutionary magazines. Rich men's tax-exempt foundations pour millions of dollars into left-wing organizations. The federal establishment in Washington, through agencies like the OEO, provide weekly paychecks to thousands of hardcore revolutionaries. And so we return again to the basic question, why? Why does the establishment publicly condemn but privately support the anti-establishment movement? Former communist Jerry Kirk answers, the idea is to create a situation where the people are so frightened of the violence all around them that they will throw their hands up in the air and demand, federal government, do something. And the only choice open will be martial law. The communists, black militants, and revolutionaries will never succeed in overthrowing the government of the United States. But unless they are stopped, they will scare the American people into accepting socialism from Washington and statist rule by the insiders of the establishment. This is what it is really all about.
Okay, now, how much of that sounds familiar? That's 1968, guys. That's a lifetime ago. That's literally a lifetime ago and more, right? And some of us are younger than that. So it's like, hold on. So this is what they were talking about in 1968, okay, with the revolutionary business going on, with again breaking society over the knee, throwing it into the fire. This is where we're at. Is this not happening again? And right again. So do you think we should hate the cops? Do you think we should hate the gays? Do you think we should hate the blacks? Do you think we should hate the Jews or the Asians? Do you think we should hate our neighbor? Do you think all that's normal? Do you think all of that is like what people were made for? Is that why we're here on this earth, to hate each other? Think about it. But if you watch the media, let me tell you, they disagree with me quite a lot. And yeah, so anyway, again, 1968, guys, this is not new. Like, this has been an ongoing struggle, and you see where the powers that be and the billionaires in place they have us in a collective form of unease, which I got right off the website. And no, you're not crazy. You're not crazy. This is happening. This is really happening. History repeats itself, and if they don't get it the first time, they'll try again the next time. And every single calamity that happens, they will steal one thing from you. They will steal one thing from us. In, what would you call it? In the name of creating, I hate to say it, an NWO, the New World Order, right? Whatever that happens to be, the new normal, okay? And what is the new normal? Before 9/11, you didn't go into the airport and get your nuts grabbed, right? You didn't have to take off your shoes and have them smell your shoes, run through the x-ray. None of that. None of that happened, right? But now it's the new normal. What about after COVID, right? What about after this? What's happening? What's the new normal for tomorrow? And I think we need to be wary. We need to be vigilant. We need to watch our politicians, and we need to demand more from them, because that's what this is all about. That's what it's all about. All right, let's see. We're a little bit long. We got time for you. I'm going to ramble for just a little bit. I'm drinking beer, just kicking it here. If you guys have any comments on this, you want to give me a call, you want to get in a final word on what we're talking about here. If you want to call me a racist, no problem. No problem. Right? I am not trying to lead you to one party or the other. Right? The blue line or the red line, I think you should steer clear of both, and that's it. Right? Don't follow their dogma. Think for yourself. That's what this has always been about. Don't listen to me. Always fact check the shit I say. Always look at the links I drop. And I think that's part of transparency. One, you can call me and you can disagree with me and we can still be friends. Two, all of my sources I always link. So good, bad, or indifferent, you can follow up and look and see where I got this stuff from and what we're talking about. And otherwise, like, how can we not be friends? Like, this is easy. This is an easy game, yeah? It's an easy game if you make it an easy game. If you complicate things and then divide and subdivide, then we have no chance. We have no chance. We need each other, guys. We need each other. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. Okay, here we go. Penny says, awesome. Welcome to the family there, Zach. Appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you for the great call, and thank you, Penny, for welcoming new smart folks to the group here. Let's see. Beer. What's up? What's up, Christian? Thanks for showing up tonight. We got John. It's scary. That's the year I was born. What's up, man? No, I'm not. Christian says you still drinking PBR. No, I upgraded. I couldn't do it anymore. PBR. I was like, after drinking cheap beer for a little while, I'm just like, dear God, no more. I had to upgrade by like 20 cents a beer. Okay, so anyway, we're at the end of this. So again, we got a couple minutes. I got some clips to play, but I think we're done. I think we're finished. We've got actually, let me play these two clips as we finish this up. I got two more. Let's finish this. They're short, and then you guys have time to call if you have any more comments on this. I think it's important. Like, these are the important things. We're talking about the Hegelian dialectic. We're talking about Plato and how humanity progresses naturally, or how government and media works together to manipulate it and kickstart it by turning us against each other and creating the diametric that causes whatever they want to come out of it. So thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. Okay, that's the three things of the Hegelian dialectic. So there we go. We'll play a couple more clips. And again, like I said, look at this. This is the thing. We're going to do overtime tonight. We're going to do a little bit extra time because we got a little bit more to finish. And I think maybe one more of you wants to call. I think we got one more call somewhere out there. 702-957-1037. Give us a call. Troubledminds.org. You can find the official website there with the phone number and the Discord link. And let's do it. Let's do it. Tecate, Gatorade. Yeah, what's up? Paul says, my dad drinks PBR. I thought I was only a Wisconsin thing. No. I was drinking PBR Extra. It's like the 6.5%. So it tastes a little less shitty and gets you a little more drunk. So it's like double bonus, right? All right, so here we go. Let's play this is some theories on the same thing, right? The Hegelian dialectic, talking about COVID-19. A couple more clips on this. Waiting for you guys to call. We're playing this for some extra overtime and to give you another chance to call. 702-957-1037. Here we go. Action.
Are we in interesting times right now? I hate it when I'm right. The hysteria and the things that are being discussed right now and the mass social programming of turning citizens against other citizens is in full effect. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of the problem, reaction, solution paradigm. Step 1, the government either creates or exploits a problem and then attributes the blame to others. So right now we have an issue which, according to all the latest actual data and research, isn't as big of an issue as being told. I know there's people out there with tinfoil hats on who are saying it's engineered, it's a bioweapon, all this. All of that's irrelevant. We are being programmed right now. And it's so obvious to anyone with over 2 brain cells. But people are very obedient sheep and they believe whatever authorities, especially global authorities, tell them. That it's right over their heads. And that's the scariest part of this whole situation. Step 2. The populace, the general population, then reacts because of fear. Remember, fear equals control. The general population reacts by asking the government for protection and help to solve the problem. That's where we're at right now. People all around are demanding the government to shut borders. They're demanding government to force other people to stay at home, your fellow citizens. So if you want to go drive out to the wilderness, which is the best, healthiest thing you can possibly do right now, if you want to drive to the great outdoors, get that vitamin D, get that fresh air, You are smart. You are doing what everyone should be doing. But no. You have fellow neighbors, fellow citizens, who are now calling you a killer, who are now shaming you. This is all by design. It's amazing how well and how quickly this all came together.
Notice what he said there. They want us to hate. They want us to rat each other out, right? Straight out of 1984. Remember, people were afraid of their own children because they were part of the Junior Spies League, right? You guys remember that? People were terrified of being turned in by their own children because that's all you needed, right? All you needed was a hint, right? A hint of going against the party, and the thought police came. And all you needed was one informer to turn on each other. And look what we're doing. We're ratting each other out for going outside, right? This is ridiculous. And yeah, he's got a fantastic point. We're going to play part two one more time. Waiting for one more call. If you guys just giving you the time for it, kicking it again. We have no time limits. We do what we want, and nobody tells us what to say. So it's important, and we think you might have something to say too. So if you do, 702-957-1037. Dragging it out for one more call. If we don't have one more, that's okay. We got one more clip, and then we'll finish this up. Here we go. Part two of that same clip, and action.
So those people are now asking the government to help save them. The third step is the government will offer solutions, by the way, which are solutions they've had planned for a long time for any type of emergency. Long before the crisis of the day occurred. And at the end of the day, the outcome, when the dust settles, your rights and your liberties will be exchanged for the illusion of protection and help from the government. And it will never go back to the way it was before. I'll tell you what the biggest, most outrageous, absurd conspiracy that some people are actually claiming right now. Some people are saying that shutting down the economy, changing society, a cashless society, the end of mom and pop business, the end of personal freedom and liberty, all of this is to protect the vulnerable. Anyone who actually believes this is about protecting the vulnerable, well, you know what? You own the biggest, most powerful tinfoil hat in existence. And you are the real danger. This is going to be a war. For the first time in my life, I'm actually afraid of things in the world. Like, really afraid of what's coming. And at the bottom of the list is catching something because someone coughed on me. That isn't even on my radar right now. It's the problem, reaction, solution that is terrifying me right now. Oh, but let's all listen to the WHO. A few months ago they said nothing to worry about. You have nothing to worry about. But now, oh my God, we better listen to them and shut down society and give up all our rights and freedoms. Holy shit. If you believe that, we are f***ed. All of you right now, all around the world, doesn't matter whether you're in Canada, the United States, with many places down south of the border are now calling for martial law. And you have neighbors and friends actually asking the government to impose these restrictions on you.
Thesis, antithesis, synthesis. That's right. That's the Hegelian dialectic. And that is what the government has been using against us as long as governments have been around. There we go. Good clips. Thanks all for hanging out. I know sometimes it's a long show. We got lots to say. But think about it, right? And like I always say at the end of the show, like it's a lot of rambling, it's a lot of talking, it's a lot of, not perfectly scripted anything. Okay, this is real, this is natural, this is like it's a loose outline, and we got some clips to help us through. But for the end, you can't get this type of information anywhere, can you? Like not to pat ourselves on the back too much, but you end up with almost like a college level education, right? We're talking about philosophy tonight. We're talking about how it goes back to Plato and Aristotle. We're talking about Hegel and Marx. We're talking about how they use this to break society over a knee, and like Zach said, to maybe usher in Kardashev, civilization type 1. Is that where we're headed? Is that what globalization actually means? You tell me. I don't have the answers to this. I just ask the questions. I'm just a question man. So here we are at the end. Thanks for hanging out. You guys are the best. Go to bed. Thanks for hanging out. Drink a little bit more if you're going to do that. If not, rest up because we'll need you next time. And at the end of this, here we go. Oh, I think we got to do it one more time because I've said too much tonight. I think I've tiptoed over the red line. I've tiptoed over the blue line. So I think we need one of these before we.
How dare you?
Yes, indeed. And how dare me for towing the party lines and stepping over, we have the outro music, which goes a little something like this. And at the end, like I said, lots of rambling, lots of good stuff, lots of in-between stuff. But if you turn on Fox News or CNN, you get a segment of about 8 minutes, gets cut off by a commercial, and it's all propaganda all the time. So do you prefer some downtime, some mumbles, some not perfectly scripted information? Or do you just want to listen to that trash? Yeah. If you're still here, you guys are the best. Super fans. I'm going to put up, that's going to be the first t-shirt that goes up. We got merch coming. The first one is going to be a TMR Superfan t-shirt. And what we'll do is when we launch the merch, you guys that are still here at the very end will get a coupon code to get a really great deal on a sweet TMR Superfan t-shirt because I talk a lot and I say a lot of really dumb shit sometimes. But here you are anyway at the end of this. If you're still here, my respect, my thanks. I appreciate it. I would never have done this long without you guys. You guys make it worthwhile. So thanks for hanging out. Thanks for sticking with us. Thanks for going through the sloppy narratives. And thanks for contributing. Thanks for calling in. Thanks for the chat. Thanks for all the great stuff. You guys are amazing. And at the end, one more time, we go Tuesday, we go Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern. And we're always on Twitch. We're always on YouTube. We're always on Facebook. We're Periscope. We're always on these things until they take us down, okay? So in every single instance, we did a lot of these to begin with because we figured we'd lose one here. We'd lose one there. We get censored here. We get banned there. Nothing yet. Nothing yet. Hopefully we're towing that line, the technocracy line. But at the end, I can't thank you enough for hanging out. I can't thank you enough for being here this time, last time, and the next time. And you guys are all my favorites. And let's stick together because we need each other. And one more time, you're listening to Troubled Minds Radio. And I'm your host, Michael Strange. And from our troubled minds to yours, have a great night.